What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. Navy in Hokage World 1 HW Chapter 1 Marine Recruitment System. Hokage World. Water Country. There was a drizzle of rain, and the raindrops were intertwined in the Nanu city, and the wind was blowing as fine as a net. A thick fog filled the rain. At this time, in the forest outside Nanu city, under the rain and fog, a group of people carried a special driving cage for nobles to travel away from Nanu city under the escort of a dozen warriors with long swords around their waists. Inside the beautifully decorated cage, Akira Yagyu was wearing a tall gray-black hat and loose blue and white hunting clothes, with the Yagyu family crest printed on the back, with a confused look on his face. The land of water? Losing son of the daimyo? I've crossed? Is it the Hokage world and I'm still riding a horse? At this moment, Akira Yagyu's mood is almost broken. He was an ordinary company employee. He went home from get off work as usual, but just a few steps out of the company gate, he suddenly felt something hit his forehead. When he opened his eyes again, he appeared in this ancient Japanese-style cage, and at the same time there was a memory that did not belong to him. In my memory, today is the day when the daimyo family and the Yagyu family choose their heirs. The chosen person is not only the next patriarch of the Yagyu family, but also the next daimyo prepared by this country of water surrounded by the sea. And Akira Yagyu, the youngest under the current daimyo, naturally lost in the first round without any suspense. As a result, the status changed from the direct line of the sect to the branch house faction, and was entrusted to a small island in the land of water to develop collateral families to consolidate the dominance of the sect. FKU, will you be sent to the frontier as soon as you cross over? Akira Yagyu wanted to cry without tears. Although the Hokage world has all kinds of powerful and gorgeous ninjutsu limits, it is not impossible to even fly to the sky and immortality. It can be said that there are infinite possibilities, but now he is just an ordinary warrior who can easily solve it without a knife. People, even the most basic chakra can't be refined, so how can you cultivate to become stronger? Akira Yagyu is not one of those children who just crossed over and thought about the six paths. His mind has already matured, and crossing into this high martial world is not necessarily a good thing for an ordinary person like him. Akira Yagyu felt a little restless, especially when he learned from his memory that the news of Third Kazukage's disappearance seemed to come from the Land of Winds not long ago. He knows the plot very well, and the disappearance of Third Kazukage is one of the iconic events that kicked off the Third Ninja World War. And once the Third Ninja World War breaks out completely, even if it is a country of water with a special geographical location and surrounded by seas on all sides, it will not be able to survive alone. In such a large-scale war that affects the entire ninja world, even the daimyo of the country of water may be assassinated by the enemy at any time, not to mention Akira Yagyu, who has been dispatched to the border and lost his family protection, even if he is suddenly flown over. A single shot of ninjutsu is not unacceptable. Thinking of this, Akira Yagyu couldn't help shivering, and even had the idea of going to hide in the mountains and forests. However, at this moment, a series of mechanical prompts suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! Marine Recruitment System is activated. Scanning the current world pattern. Scan complete. Advertisement, generating personal panel, completed. Marine Recruitment System? WTF? Akira Yagyu shuddered, almost screaming at the sudden sound. But then, he quickly reacted. Is it a necessary system for traversers? At this moment, the previous anxiety about not knowing how to face the future seems to have disappeared. Akira Yagyu suppressed the excitement in his heart and trembled. Open the personal panel. Swish. A translucent light curtain appeared in front of Akira Yagyu's eyes. Host. Akira Yagyu race, Human Dao Strength, 6. Ability. None skills. None Marine Mall, not open, conditions not met. Marine Reputation. Not enabled, conditions not met. Marine Special Building. Not enabled, conditions not met. Ding. Since the Marine Recruitment System is activated for the first time, a novice gift package will be awarded. Please claim it as soon as possible. Ding. Trigger the main quest. Build Marine in the ninja world and bring peace to the troubled world. Ding. Trigger a side quest. Find a small island with a diameter of no less than 10 kilometers as a Marine base. Reward a Marine Standard base building, a Marine Standard light warship, and a Marine Standard naval combat unit. Ding. Trigger the side quest. If the Dao force value exceeds 100, the reward will be randomly drawn once. Just swiping the information on the light curtain in front of him, the mysterious mechanical sound sounded again, and Akira Yagyu was stunned when he heard a series of prompts, and it took a while before he came back to his senses. Newbie gift pack. Akira Yagyu's attention was completely caught by the content of the first beep. Advertisement. In his previous life, in his spare time, apart from watching movies and animations, he also watched a lot of system novels. According to the normal novel routine, the so-called novice spree can open up very good things. But, how do I get this novice gift package? Akira Yagyu's eyes turned to the system panel, and in the upper right corner of the system panel, the icon of a small red gift box was flashing. Should be this, right? After a pause, Akira Yagyu stretched out his right index finger and pointed it. Whoa, ding. The novice gift package is successfully received. As the small gift box exploded like fireworks, the familiar mechanical sounds sounded again. Ding! Congrats to host for obtaining sword skill, 1 blade flow 36 troubled winds. Ding! Congrats to the host for getting big quick knife 21 work black knife autumn water. Ding! Congratulations to host for obtaining the Senior Marine General School recruitment order. Hum. A white light flashed before Akira Yagiyu's eyes, and after a second, the light dissipated. Inside the cage, Akira Yagiyu, who was sitting cross-legged, had a black-purple katana scabbard on his knees. An inexplicable feeling made him pick up the knife subconsciously, hold the handle in his right hand, and slowly withdraw a small piece. Hum. The black-purple blade trembled slightly, emitting a soft moan like joy. A fierce and domineering breath permeated out. Is this the big sharp knife that claims to have only 21 in the entire pirate world? Akira Yagiyu exclaimed and retracted the blade back into its scabbard, laying it across his knees. Immediately, he closed his eyes and began to feel the extra sword skills in his mind. For a while, Akira Yagiyu opened his eyes, and the corners of his mouth raised a confident arc. He could feel that as long as he thought about it, at this time, he could perfectly display the exclusive sword skills of Noruyazoro, the great swordsman in the pirates, 1 blade style and 36 troubled winds. From now on, he is no longer an ordinary person who is powerless in the face of the enemy. Chapter 2. Ghost Bamboo, Vergo. By the way, there seems to be a recruitment order for senior marines? Putting Kiyoshui by his side, Akira Yagiyu remembered the third reward offered by the novice spree, paused, and said tentatively in his heart, using the senior marine general recruitment order? Ding! Consume 1 recruiting order for a senior marine and start recruiting. Ding! Congratulations to host for successfully recruiting Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, Ghost Bamboo, Vergo. Whoa! A curtain of light appeared before Akira Yagiyu's eyes. Name. Vergo name. Ghost Bamboo race. Human. Rank. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral Dao Strength, 4900. Ability. None skills. Marine 6 styles, Advanced, Armament Haki, Intermediate, Observation Haki, Beginner. Weapon. Bamboo, Vergo, Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral? Isn't that a senior cadre under Doflamingo's hands? However, it is said that the recruitment was successful. Why is there no movement? Akira Yagiyu looked left and right in the cage, but Vergo didn't notice that it appeared directly in front of him like the previous black sword autumn water. Ding! The recruiters are on their way to the location of the host. Please wait. The voice of the system sounded timely, as if knowing what Akira Yagiyu was thinking. Understood. Akira Yagiyu nodded thoughtfully, then turned his eyes to the light curtain in front of him, looking at the conspicuous 4-digit number on the Dao strength value. Even if he was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but secretly stunned. If he remembered correctly, Rob Lucci from the Eni's lobby period in the original book was only able to reach 4,000 power points with the bonus of Devil Fruit. And Bluno with only 820 Dao strength can even smash a sledgehammer with his bare hands. Advertisement 4,900 Dao strength, plus the armament Haki enough to cover the whole body. I don't know how far Vergo can achieve in this ninja world. Maybe, normal ninjutsu can't break Vergo's defense, right? Akira Yagiyu said to herself, suppressing her inner excitement. At this time, he has completely lost the uneasiness that he had just crossed over, and even had some vague expectations. Since the Marine recruitment system allows him to recruit Marine Vice Admiral Vergo, does that mean he can also recruit other Marine powerhouses? For example, Marine 3 Admiral. Another example, Martial Marine, Sengoku of Buddha. Even the legendary Marine hero, Tekken, Garp, who defeated the pirate Overlord, Rocks. If these powerhouses can be recruited, in this era when there are no 6 paths level powerhouses, who can be his opponents? Akira Yagiyu almost trembled with excitement when he thought of the natural disaster level images in the original book where these strong men waved the power of S-rank ninjutsu, even far exceeding the power of S-rank ninjutsu. Just then, suddenly, boom! The cage that Akira Yagiyu was riding in stopped, and Akira Yagiyu recovered from the shock of the cage touching the ground. What happened? Akira Yagiyu frowned slightly, fully integrated into his current identity. He lifted the curtain of the driving cage with his hands closed, and glanced outside. At this time, the driver's cage had stopped in a mountain call. The drizzle was pouring, the mountains and forests on both sides were towering, the ground was covered with gravel, and there was a small stream not far away. The whole environment seemed quiet and desolate. The surrounding warriors drew their swords one after another, and the guards who were like a formidable enemy surrounded the cage. Your Highness. A young warrior with short white hair walked to the cage, lowered his head slightly and said solemnly, "The surrounding situation is not right, we may have been ambushed." Ambush? Akira Yagiyu was stunned for a while, looking at the white-haired young samurai in front of him. The other party's message flashed in his mind quickly. The white-haired young warrior named Hitano Ichiro is a wandering warrior from the Iron Country. This time Akira Yagiyu was separated and left the clan. Kitano Ichiro was the guard leader assigned to him by the Yagiyu family. His strength was not top-notch. Although he can only be regarded as a second-rate samurai, among the group of samurai around Akira Yagiyu, he is already the strongest. It can be seen that after the identity changed from the clan to the branch house, Akira Yagiyu's status in the Yagiyu family also plummeted. Otherwise, as one of the 5 great nations in the ninja world, a direct member of the Yagyu family of the daimyo family in the land of water, not to mention that there are ninjas accompanying him, no matter what, it should be the personal protection of first-class samurai. While thinking, Akira Yagyu put his left hand on Kiyoshui's scabbard, feeling the cold and thick texture, and his tense body relaxed a little. Advertisement at the same time, he thought about possible enemies in his mind. The result, of course, was nothing. After all, he doesn't seem to have offended anyone in his memory? Whizzing. At this moment, there was a sudden sound of dense air breaking around. As if triggering some mechanism, a large number of kunai and shurikens suddenly shot out from the surrounding forest, rushing towards Akira Yagyu and his party from all directions. Enemy attack. Protect your highness. The samurai turned pale in shock, waving the katana in their hands to resist the blazing kunai and shuriken, making a ding-ding-ding metal crash. However, with 2 fists incompetent with 4 hands, how could a dozen katana swords completely resist the sky-filled Kuuna shuriken? In the blink of an eye, some samurai were stabbed into hedgehogs by a large number of shuriken and kunai, and the samurai began to suffer casualties amid the screams. It's a ninja, your highness, please stay in the cage and don't move. Kitano Ichiro's expression changed, and with a swipe, he pulled out the samurai sword from his waist, waved the blade with the afterimages, and knocked all the kunai and shuriken that were shot into the air. Soon, kuei and shuriken were all shot. Of the 15 samurai at the beginning, only 9 were left under the attack just now, and all 9 were more or less wounded. Except for Kitano Ichiro, everyone was in a state of embarrassment. Look. In the cage, Akira Yagyu, who was watching this scene, shook his head, paused, took a deep breath, held the black knife Kiyoshui in his left hand, lifted the curtain and walked out. His Royal Highness, why did you come out? Kitano Ichiro was shocked when he saw Akira Yagyu walking out of the cage. It's okay. Akira Yagyu waved his hand, walked to Kitano Ichiro, glanced around and said, the opponent is a ninja, it will be more dangerous to stay inside. But, Kitano Ichiro wanted to say something. Giggle. As expected of the daimyo family, this kind of character is not bad. At this moment, a woman's charming laughter suddenly sounded, and the sound was so close that all the samurai including Kitano Ichiro trembled, and a chill suddenly rose from the back. When Kitano Ichiro turned around suddenly and looked up, only to see a meowman figure standing quietly above the cage. On the slender waist, there is a scratch on the forehead protector of Kirin village, which is particularly conspicuous. Chapter 3 Marine 6 Styles. Rebel. The moment he saw the forehead protector on the opponent's waist, Kitano Ichiro clenched the samurai sword in his hand, and the cold sweat on his face instantly flowed down. After all, if the opponent is a normal ninja, and for whatever reason, attacking them, in the land of water, as Akira Yagyu, may not be life-threatening. But betrayal is different. Betrayal originally refers to ninjas who have left their villages because of crimes and other reasons. Such ninjas generally do not have any scruples, let alone Akira Yagyu, who has lost the identity of the Yagyu family, even if it is the daimyo himself. I am afraid they will not have any scruples. Hesitant to move. His Royal Highness, the other party is Kirin Village Rebellion, please forgive your incompetence, I'm afraid we are really in danger this time. Kitano Ichiro looked at Akira Yagyu and said bitterly. Okay. Akira Yagyu answered with an unknown business, but instead of being nervous and panicked, he raised his head and looked at the female Betrayal with interest. Can you tell me why you attacked us? Okay. The female Betrayal has short brown hair, a white belt tied around her head, and is wearing a blue low-cut dress, tied around her waist by a forehead protector with Ku's crossed-out logo. Arrived, with a somewhat surprised look on her beautiful face. In her opinion, Akira Yagyu's performance was too calm. Secretly vigilant in her heart, the female Betrayal looked at Akira Yagyu a few times, then suddenly smiled, turned her hand, and a kunai slipped out of her sleeve and was held in her hand. Little devil, procrastination in battle is a taboo for ninjas. Whoosh. As the female Betrayal said, she stepped on her foot, and her whole body instantly turned into an afterimage and shot out. Small. Kitano Ichiro's pupils shrank, and as soon as he shouted a word, the voice of the female Betrayal of Shinobi suddenly appeared in the center of the samurai. Bang bang bang. A dull blow sounded, and the 9 warriors didn't even realize what happened, and all of them were knocked out in an instant. Then, almost at the same time when the samurai landed, he appeared in front of Kitano Ichiro like a teleportation. The kunai in his hand ripped through the air and slashed towards Kitano Ichiro's neck. Ding! Kitano Ichiro tried his best to block the samurai sword in front of his neck, and kunai intersected with the blade, sparks flying. Go to hell! Kitano Ichiro shouted angrily, and the samurai sword in his hand suddenly burst into a powerful chakra blade. With a strong wave, the powerful force directly repelled the female Betrayal, causing the opponent's figure to stagger for a moment. Good chance. Kitano Ichiro's eyes lit up, holding a knife in both hands, the chakra flame on the blade skyrocketed, and he swept it violently. Advertisement, flicker. Hum, a white crescent-shaped light flashed away. Next moment. Boom, not far away, a 3-meter-high rock was cut in half, the other half flew high, and then fell heavily to the ground. At the same time, with a stunned look on the face of the female Betrayal, she was cut off by the middle. However, Ichiro Kitano didn't wait for a smile to appear on his face. Very good swordsmanship, but if you think you can defeat me like this. The figure of the female betrayal appeared behind Kitano Ichiro, holding a kunai and gently pressing it against his neck on. Then you underestimate ninjas too much. How so? The samurai sword in his hand fell to the ground, and Kitano Ichiro's face turned pale as he felt the bitter cold texture on his neck. Unexpectedly, his strongest blow didn't even touch the opponent's clothes at all. No wonder samurai will be replaced by ninjas, the gap is too big. On the side, watching the samurai including Kitano Ichiro lost in a blink of an eye, Akira Yagyu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Then, looking at Ichiro Kitano who was about to be dealt with by the female betrayal, Akira Yagyu said softly, Vergo. Vergo? The female betrayal looked at Akira Yagyu, a hint of doubt flashed in her eyes, and she whispered these 3 words in her mouth, as if she was guessing what it meant. However, the movement in his hand was not slow at all. As soon as his wrist was exerted, Kunwu was ready to wipe Kitano Ichiro's throat. At this time, Tempest Kick. A deep male voice faintly entered the ears of the female betrayal. In an instant, the hair on the female betrayal stood upright and disappeared in place in an instant. Whoosh! At the moment when the female betrayal disappeared, a blue crescent-shaped energy suddenly shot out from the mountains and forests on the side, and after tearing the ground along the way into a ravine, the gravel splashed, and it instantly stuck to Kitano Ichiro. Lacing past. What was that just now? The swordsmanship of a samurai. The figure of the female betrayal reappeared above the cage, and looked vigilantly in the direction of the crescent moon. There, a tall figure came out of the forest. Advertisement. A sturdy body of more than 2 meters, wearing a grid-like white coat, with lightning-shaped sideburns on both sides of his cheeks, under his short black hair, he wears a pair of sunglasses on his unsmiling face, and holds a fresh emerald green bamboo in his right hand. Looking at this scene, Akira Yagyu's mouth raised a beautiful arc. That's right, the person here is the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral recruited by Akira Yagyu, Ghost Bamboo, Vergo. In fact, Akira Yagyu got a notification from the system when he was attacked by countless kunai shuriken just now that Vergo had arrived. It was precisely because of this that Akira Yagyu dared to step down from the cage so confidently and boldly. Otherwise, even if he has learned one of Zoro's sword skills now, he would never dare to face a betrayal face to face with such confidence. Who are you? The female betrayal stared at the approaching Verge. But Vergo didn't mean to answer at all, and still walked towards her with steady steps. Court death. Seeing that Vergo didn't respond to her words at all, a trace of anger and coldness flashed in the female betrayal's eyes, and she folded her hands together, turning into afterimages. 2.3 seconds later. Water-style water bomb. The female betrayal let out a low voice. In an instant, there was a drizzle in the air hundreds of meters away, as if controlled by an invisible force. It quickly gathered and condensed, forming 2 rapidly rotating thick water columns in the air, and the sharp end shot towards the Vergo below. Go with. In an instant, it was less than 5 centimeters away from Vergo's calm face. Next moment, there was a faint smoke on the ground, and Vergo's figure disappeared in place in an instant, like a teleportation, and appeared beside the female betrayal who had just finished the seal. The right hand is holding the bamboo, and the left hand is raised casually. So fast. The female rebellion's pupils shrank suddenly, and at the critical moment, she subconsciously raised the kuwu in her hand and held it in front of her chest. Finger pistol. Clang. Boom. The metal crash sounded at the same time as the popping sound of 2 water jets hitting the ground. Under the shocked gaze of the female betrayal, the kunai in her hand shattered like glass, and the terrifying power was transmitted from her hand to her, causing her body to fly upside down almost uncontrollably. Chapter 4 Vergo's Strength. Boom. The figure of the female betrayal suddenly flew out a distance of hundreds of meters, and smashed into the distant stream like a cannonball. While causing huge water waves, it also reduced most of the impact. But even so, when the female betrayal stood up from the water in embarrassment, blood flowed from the right hand holding kunai before, and the corners of her mouth overflowed with bloodline. What a terrifying brute force that actually shattered Kue. Chakra was attached to her feet, and the female betrayal was half kneeling on the water, looking at Vergo's tall figure on the cage. Her eyes were full of shock and fear. Comparable to the speed of advanced body flicker technique. Strong enough to shatter steel. There are also previous attacks similar to samurai sword skills. Where did this monster-like guy come from? Damn, that guy didn't say that such a level of powerhouse would appear in the mission. Thinking of the information given by the employer, the female betrayal scolded and wiped bloodline at the corner of her mouth. Then, without hesitation, he turned and fled quickly. After all, she took this mission just for money, but she didn't mean to take her own life. After the short fight just now, she has completely seen the gap between herself and the other party. She is just an elite chunin, but even when she was still in one-in village, none of the Jonins could give her such a strong sense of oppression and crisis. Intuition tells her that if she continues to fight, she will die horribly. It turns out that there are strong people of this level around, so that little devil just faced me without fear. While running down the stream at full speed, the female betrayal ninja muttered to herself. Just then, suddenly, bang, bang, bursts of air bursts from behind came into the ears of the female betrayal, causing her to look back subconsciously. In an instant, the pupils suddenly contracted, just because it was within her sight. Vergo, who was originally standing on top of the cage, actually floated in the air like a flight. With the roar of the air, a white airwave exploded under his feet, and the whole person was chasing her like a cannonball. It's impossible. It's actually stepping on the air to fly? Is this guy a monster? The female Betrayal was horrified. The strong visual impact even made the chakra under her feet unstable and almost fell into the water. Advertisement after all, in her cognition, stepping on the air to fly is unheard of, even in the entire country of water. No, even in the entire ninja world. Damn it, keep it going, you'll be caught up soon. The female Betrayal ninja gritted her teeth, and the fighting experience in her ninja career made her make a judgment in an instant. The extremely fast-moving figure remained unchanged, and his hands were raised, turning into afterimages and starting to run and seal. After 5 seconds, the female Betrayal suddenly turned around and faced Vergo, who was no more than 20 meters away from her. The chakra in the body was instantly evacuated, water-style big waterfall technique. The female Betrayal stared at Vergo stubbornly and shouted with her last strength. Next moment. Whoa! The drizzle in the area of hundreds of people suddenly disappeared, all the water disappeared, and the void in front of the female Betrayal shinobi was gushing out a huge water current, forming a giant water current Uzumaki with a diameter of tens of meters. Immediately, it exploded. Okay. Vergo's eyes under the sunglasses opened slightly, watching the huge water flow like a natural disaster swirling and rushing in at a high speed. Boom! A giant waterspout with a height of more than 30 meters and a length of hundreds of meters raged in the mountains and forests. Countless trees and even rocks were involved in it, and then crushed under the terrifying water pressure. The attack lasted for nearly 10 seconds. When everything calmed down, a small lake appeared in the messy mountain forest. Ha ha! Standing on the water with the last bit of chakra in her body, the female Betrayal saw that there was no trace of Vergo in front of her and panted heavily. Was it washed away by the water? The female Betrayal murmured to herself, her tense body slowly relaxing. As Chunin, this is her only master's A-level ninjutsu. A-level ninjutsu has the scale and lethality comparable to natural disasters. Although the Great Falls technique is not the most aggressive water style, but generally ninjas endure this move head-on. Even if the body is not torn apart, it is basically impossible to recover. Stand up. Even that guy can't be intact under this move, right? The female Betrayal calmed down her rapid breathing, but for the first time, she felt a little less confident. After hesitating for a moment, she still decided to leave here as soon as possible. Only. Advertisement just when the female Betrayal had just recovered a little chakra and was about to leave. Boom. In the distance, under the rush of huge water currents, the piled-up debris of trees and rocks exploded. Vergona's tall body, which became pitch black, appeared in the eyes of the female Betrayal. It hurts, from top to bottom, first the body, and finally the clothes on the body. The metallic black luster slowly faded from Vergo, who twisted his neck and said the first sentence after coming to this world. Then, he looked up at the pale-faced female Betrayal and said expressionlessly, "Is this all your strength? Then, let me end this boring battle." Swish. A white cyclone was left in place, and Vergo's tall figure instantly appeared in front of the female Betrayal and looked at her condescendingly. Looking at each other, a look of fear finally appeared in the eyes of the female Betrayal. Wait. The female rebellion panicked and wanted to speak. Finger pistol. Call out. The sound of air being torn apart sounded. The voice of the female Betrayal stopped abruptly. A blood flower gradually appeared on her chest, and she fell down with a blank look on her face. Snapped. Vergo stretched out the bamboo that had never been used in his right hand against the belly of the female Betrayal who was about to fall, raised it with one hand, and walked straight to Akira Yagyu in the distance. Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, Vergo has seen His Highness. Vergo threw the female Betrayal on the ground and knelt down on one knee. Get up. Akira Yagyu waved his hand, looked at Vergo with satisfaction, and said, "How does it feel to fight a ninja?" Hearing this, Vergo showed a slightly thoughtful look on his face, and said, "The physical strength is very weak, even compared with the Marine Colonel. But the strength similar to Devil Fruit just now is quite strong. If you confront it head-on, people below the Commodore level may be injured or even killed." Is that so? Akira Yagyu nodded thoughtfully, then looked at the female Betrayal on the ground beside her, and frowned. How is she? I avoided her key point. It should be due to excessive consumption and coma, Vergo said. Very good. Akira Yagyu nodded in satisfaction, then turned to look at Ichiro Kitano and the remaining 9 remaining samurai, who had been stunned, and took a deep breath. Treat the injury and prepare to go on. Chapter 5-1 Blade Stream 36 Troubled Winds. The land of water is surrounded by the sea, but in addition to the main island in the center, there are also islands of different sizes in the surrounding waters. Due to the inconvenience of transportation, most of the islanders live according to their own customs. Carden Island is located in the northwest of the land of water, adjacent to the land of sea. There are nearly 100,000 residents living on the island. Most of the islanders rely on fishing for a living. The main source of income is trade with the country of the sea. For a long time, the Hoshino family, a famous samurai family in the land of water, has ruled the island. But soon, the island will change its owner. The sea breeze is howling, and a triangular masted sailboat sails on the sea, belonging to the family crest of the Yagyu family, fluttering in the wind. In a beautifully furnished cabin, Akira Yagyu sat high on the main seat, and Vergo stood quietly by the side. At the bottom, after the injury was treated, the female Betrayal who was tied up by the 5 flowers had woken up, and she was kneeling there with a pale face. Akira Yagyu opened the fan with his right hand, fanned it gently, looked down at the female Betrayal and smiled softly. "What's your name?" The female Betrayal raised her head, looked at the expressionless Vergo, and sighed. "Saku Ryoko." "Why attack us?" Akira Yagyu continued. Saku Ryoko hesitated for a moment. "The mission I received in the underground exchange. The mission requirement is to kill you." "Underground exchange?" Akira Yagyu paused while holding the fan, then closed the fan with a flick of his hand. A look of thought flashed in his eyes. The underground exchange, if he remembered correctly, it seems to be a huge underground organization that spreads throughout the entire ninja world. There, various bounty missions for assassinating important officials from various countries and even shinobi village powerhouses are often released, and the main transfer objects of the missions are those who have no moral bottom line. It's just that he was the son of an unsuccessful daimyo, and he was even deprived of his identity as a member of the clan. He had no name and no power. How could someone offer a reward to kill him on the underground exchange? "This is not scientific, etc. Advertisement." A flash of light flashed in Akira Yagyu's mind, because it suddenly occurred to him that his existence did seem to have an effect on some people. For example, the ruling class of Carden Island? It looks like it won't be boring for a while. A cold light gradually spread in Akira Yagyu's eyes, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Afterwards, Akira Yagyu put his eyes on Ryoko Saku again, picked up the black sword Kyushui, slowly pulled it out of the scabbard, and said without looking back, "Vergo, do you know kendo?" "No," Vergo shook his head. "I'm more used to using bamboo or branches as weapons." "Is that so? It's a pity." Akira Yagyu shook his head and sighed. At the same time, Heidao Chu Shui had been completely pulled out of the scabbard by him. Putting down the scabbard, Akira Yagyu stood up. The right arm holding the sword was bent and raised upward, and the palm of his left hand held the lower limb of the right arm from the inside, posing a strange sword-holding posture. One-shot flow. Akira Yagyu closed his eyes slightly and moved his lips slightly. Immediately after, under the sudden change of expression of Ryoko Saku, his eyes suddenly opened, his left hand pushed his right arm and waved it suddenly. 36 troubles. Call out. The sharp sound of breaking the air suddenly sounded, and a white slashing energy shot out. "Wait. Don't kill." Boom. Saku Ryoko's terrified voice was instantly drowned out by a huge roar. Advertisement. What happened? The huge roar alarmed the samurai outside the cabin. Under the leadership of Kitano Ichiro, the 3 samurai rushed into the cabin together. However, when they saw the scene in the cabin, they were all shocked. In front of the main seat, Akira Yagyu was holding a long black-purple sword and swung it out. On the wall of the wooden cabin opposite it, a big hole was broken as if it had been bombed by a cannon. Outside the big hole, there was an endless sea, and the sea breeze with a fishy smell was constantly blowing into the cabin. And the female Betrayal who had been sent into the cabin earlier by them has long since disappeared. Kitano Ichiro looked at Akira Yagyu, who slowly retracted his sword in shock. "Is all this caused by His Highness Ichiro?" At this time, Akira Yagyu had already put Kyushui back into the scabbard, turned his head and glanced at Ichiro Kitano and said, "Go and prepare a new room." "Yes, Your Highness." Swept away by Akira Yagyu's gaze, Kitano Ichiro shivered all of a sudden, and immediately regained his senses. He quickly turned and walked away with the 3 warriors who had not recovered. The cabin suddenly fell silent, only the whirring of the sea breeze blowing in through the hole remained. Akira Yagyu exhaled slightly and put the autumn water aside. Immediately afterwards, I felt a strong sense of exhaustion and soreness in my arms. Sure enough, although I can barely release the 36 trouble winds, I have basically reached the limit of my body. Akira Yagyu moved his lower arms, feeling the pain of muscle strain, some helplessly smiled and said, "It seems that from today onwards, I need to exercise my physique." As for Ryoko Saku, for an enemy who wants to kill him, Akira Yagyu never thinks that gender can be a reason to let him go. Chapter 6. The Ship Slayer, T-Pen. Carden Island is located on the border of the Land of Water, nearly 100 kilometers away from the main island in the center. From the main island, the bark takes less than 8 hours in most cases with a tailwind. It just seems to be because of the rain that just happened not long ago. The wind and waves on the sea are smaller than usual, and the boat has been sailing for nearly 10 hours before Akira Yagyu and the others arrive at the alley of Carden Island. At this time, it was almost dusk, the sun was setting in the west, and the whole alley was bathed in the sunset. Only the sparse fishermen were packing up their tools and preparing to end their day's work. As this Carden Island, the samurai including Kitano Ichiro took the lead in disembarking and stood in 2 rows neatly. Vergo carried the bamboo and the black sword Kyushui and got off the boat next to Akira Yagyu. Akira Yagyu looked at the deserted harbor, took a deep breath of fresh air, and an intriguing smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. As the new ruler of the Yagyu family who was entrusted to Carden Island should have received the news in advance. However, the Hoshino family, the former ruling family of Carden Island, did not appear half-person. "Is it down? It's a childish method." Akira Yagyu smiled and shook her head, not surprised. As a country of archipelagos in the sea, although most of the areas are useless sea areas, the country of water can even be said to be the country with the most extensive territory among the 5 major countries. But it is precisely because of this that the inconvenience of sea transportation has resulted in not much communication between the islands of the land of water, and even the daimyo's control over the rulers of various places is the weakest country in the entire ninja world. If it weren't for the existence of the Mist Ninja Village, which would have an absolute deterrent effect on the rulers of the major territories, I am afraid that the country of water would have already been in chaos. It is precisely because of this that since the establishment of the land of water, it has been in the midst of large and small civil strife almost all the year round. Madara can be seen from the fact that the Hoshino family dared to offer a reward to the heads of the members of the daimyo family in the underground exchange. His Royal Highness, the cage is ready, we should set off for Hagia City. At this time, Kitano Ichiro stepped forward and said respectfully. Hagia City is the largest town on the island, the seat of the Hoshino family, and the power center of Carden Island. Advertisement at the same time, it is also the place where Akira Yagyu took over the rule of Carden Island. Akira Yagyu glanced at Kitano Ichiro, who was bowing his head and was about to say something. Sudden. Ding. It is detected that the diameter of the current island exceeds 10 kilometers, which meets the construction requirements of Marine Base, and the side mission is completed. Ding. Congratulations to host for obtaining Marine Standard Base Building X1, Marine Standard Light Warship X1, Marine Standard Naval Battle Unit X1. Ding. The Marine Mall mechanism has been opened, and the host will be able to purchase armament resources by consuming silver tails. Ding. The Marine Reputation mechanism has been activated. The host will be able to gain reputation by increasing Marine's influence, and the reputation can be exchanged for the World Recruitment Order. Ding. The Marine Special Building mechanism has been activated, and the host will be able to build various Marine Special Buildings. Ding. Trigger the side quest. End the civil unrest in Carden Island. Reward, Paramecia Devil Fruit, cut the fruit quickly. A series of system beeps played in Akira Yagyu's head. Akira Yagyu's mouth twitched, and she turned to look at the sea in the distance. The gorgeous sunset shone on the sea, and on the horizon in the distance, a black spot was gradually enlarging. Huh? Vergo, who had been silent for a while, raised his head. Kitano Ichiro and the other samurai followed Akira Yagyu's gaze, but they didn't care. After all, for a country of water surrounded by seas, it is quite normal for ships to appear on the sea. His Royal Highness, if you don't go to Hagia City, it will get dark. Kitano Ichiro hesitated for a while, and reminded in a low voice. Akira Yagyu waved his hand without looking back and continued to look at the sea in the distance. Kitano Ichiro and the other samurai could only quietly follow along and look at the sea. Soon, as time passed, the appearance of the distant ship finally appeared in the eyes of Akira Yagyu and others. The blue hull of the whole body, the bunker fort with a pitch-black metallic luster on the bow, and the dense gun muzzles on both sides of the hull are even more daunting. Advertisement indistinctly, a large number of silhouettes can be seen walking on the deck. This is, Kitano Ichiro and the other samurai were shocked and looked at the majestic warship in surprise. And as the warship got closer and closer, the fishermen who had not left at the alley were also attracted to their attention, and they couldn't help but talk a little bit in surprise. Soon, in the eyes of different eyes, the warship with a height of tens of meters and a length of nearly 200 meters slowly approached the alley. The anchor was dropped and a ladder was lowered from the boat. A sailor wearing a marine uniform and holding a musket or a long knife walked down neatly, and finally stood almost halfway across the alley. Finally, a captain dressed in marine walked up to Akira Yagyu, wearing a justice cape, a red tassel hat, and a long sword at his waist. Colonel Naval Headquarters, T-Pen has seen His Highness. T-Pen knelt down on one knee, holding the long sword in his right hand to the ground, and said loudly. Whoa! In time, the system panel that only Akira Yagyu could see appeared before his eyes. Name: Marine Standard Naval Combat Unit. Commander: Colonel Naval Headquarters, Shipslayer, T-Pen. Total number of people: 813. Equipment: Ordinary Marine X-800, Marine Ensign X-10, Major Marine X-2, Colonel Marine X-1. Areas of expertise: Long-range maritime operations, frontal assault operations. Chapter 7 Wei Yoruichi Clan. Over 800 Marines. Even though he was mentally prepared, Akira Yagyu was still a little surprised when he saw the detailed data on the system panel. The 800 ordinary Marines are second, the key is the 10 ensigns, 2 majors and T-Pen, a colonel-level Marine powerhouse. This power is not weak. At least in Akira Yagyu's view, on an island where ninjas may not even exist, it's more than enough to take out the Hoshino family. You must know that in the original book, T-Pen is enough to use a 100-meter class warship as a swordsman who cuts a steak. Get up. Akira Yagyu nodded in satisfaction. Yes. T-Pen stood up, nodded to Vergo, and stood aside. On the other side, Kitano Ichiro and other samurai were shocked by this scene and speechless. Especially Kitano Ichiro, looking at the dense sea soldiers around him, his heart was even more horrified. He is different from other guard samurai. Although he is a samurai, he can be said to be a retainer of the Yagyu family to a certain extent. No matter his status or knowledge, he is far superior to these ordinary guard samurai. But because of this, he also understood better what these people in front of Akira Yagyu represented. Uniforms and weapons. Colonel Naval Headquarters. There is also the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral, named by His Highness Vergo. All of them are no longer stating a shocking fact to Kitano Ichiro. These guys are obviously from an organization with a strict hierarchy. The people in front of them are just the tip of the iceberg in this huge organization. And his master, Akira Yagyu, seems to have a high status in this organization? However, since the master has such a powerful power, why didn't he show it when he was running for the daimyo? It was not until it was sent out from the center of power in the land of water that it began to gradually reveal? Could it be? Kitano Ichiro thought of a possibility, and couldn't help his pupils shrinking suddenly. And just when Kitano Ichiro was caught in an unprecedented brain supplement advertisement on the other side, Akira Yagyu looked up at the already dim sky, and called up the system's task panel. End the civil unrest in Carden Island. Looking at the new mission just released above, Akira Yagyu pondered for a while, then looked up in the direction of Hokage City, with a playful expression on his face. The civil strife on Carden Island should be referring to the Hoshino family and him, right? I originally planned to play with you slowly, but since there are rewards, let's do it in advance. After muttering a few words to himself, Akira Yagyu suddenly whispered, Colonel T-Pen. Yes. T-Pen stepped forward, standing straight. Now I give you the first task. Akira Yagyu flashed a strange light in his eyes, looked at T-Pen and said, the target is Hokage City in the east. Lead your subordinates. First hope the Marine will completely take over the entire Hoshino family before I reach Hokage City. Clear. T-Pen said loudly in respect of the military salute, then turned around and waved his hand and shouted, for justice, go. For justice. 800 sailors responded by shouting in unison, and then, under the leadership of T-Pen, rushed towards the direction of Hokage City. Let's go too. Akira Yagyu also sat in the cage. Night falls. The dark night sky is dotted sporadically, the bright moonlight spreads on the sea, and under the cold and dark sea, unknown shadows swim quickly. Hokage City. Although it was already dark, the Hoshino family in the center of Hokage City was still brightly lit. At this time, in a courtyard of the Hoshino family, Hoshino Taiga, the patriarch of the Hoshino family, is receiving a mysterious group of guests. Just something like that. The speaker was a man with long white hair, the hair on both sides was tied with white belts, there was purple eyeshadow around his eyes, and there were 2 red dots between the eyebrows, wearing a white kimono. There was a palpitating aura about him. Advertisement at this moment, he looked at the sparse boxes in the courtyard, and the expression on his face was a little unhappy. No way, this is my limit. Hoshino Taiga was a sturdy middle-aged man in a gray kimono. He glanced at the white-haired man and said calmly, also, the kid from the Yagyu family has arrived, and soon Carden Island is not what our Hoshino family said. At that time, there may be less for you. What are you trying to say? The white-haired man frowned and said impatiently. It's simple. Hoshino Dai's eyes flashed with cold light. If you want me to continue to provide resources to Yue Yoriichi clan, I hope you can help me get rid of the Yagyu family's little devil. Are you threatening me? The white-haired man's face turned cold, and his whole body began to exude a strong killing intent. On the side, the other 3 white-haired men who were also dressed to defeat also looked over with bad eyes. Whatever you think. Hoshino Dai looked at the 4 white-haired men calmly. For a while, I will respond to your request with the patriarch. The white-haired man gave Hoshino Tei a deep look, then turned his head and gestured at the other 3 with his eyes. The other 3 immediately understood, took out the scrolls that had been prepared from the inner layer of the kimono in their arms, and opened the boxes that were laid out in the courtyard. Then a seal was made. Bang! With white smoke, all the boxes were not sealed in the scrolls. Seeing this scene, the white-haired man nodded with satisfaction and was just about to say something. Suddenly, boom, 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 enemy attack. A burst of gunshots, accompanied by a sharp roar, suddenly sounded from outside. Chapter 8: The Wandering Ninja of the Hoshino Family. What happened? The sudden upheaval changed the expression of Hoshino Tei in the courtyard. He ignored the Wei Yoriichi clan who were still in the courtyard, and hurriedly ran out, grabbing a guard who was running towards him and shouting loudly. Army! A large number of troops of unknown origin suddenly attacked us. They still have muskets, the guard said in panic. Army? Musket? Hearing the description of the guards, Hoshino Taiga's first reaction was, did a war break out? However, the idea was immediately dismissed. Not to mention whether the war broke out or not, even if it did, which country's army could attack Carden without attracting any attention from the war country? Let all the guards be dispatched. I want to see who actually shot against our Hoshino family. Hoshino Dai's eyes flashed with a cold light. As the samurai family of the Yu Li tribe in Carden Island, although the status of the samurai has plummeted due to the appearance of ninjas, no matter what, the Hoshino family is a famous noble in the country of water, with the number of samurai, even in the whole water. The country is one of the best, only under the name of the big name. It is precisely because of this that Hoshino Tei dared to offer a reward directly to Akira Yagyu's head in the underground trading market. Even if it wasn't for the daimyo's reaction, Hoshino Dahe would have sent someone to take action in person. Yes. The guard trembled and hurriedly prepared to inform the guards. Wait. Hoshino Dahe suddenly stopped the guards who were about to leave, and after pondering for a while, he said, just in case, I will also notify Mike and Nakano by the way. Yes, the patriarch. The guard hurriedly left. Watching the guards leave, Taiga Hoshino turned to look at the 4 members of the Wei Yoruichi clan, nodded apologetically, and then walked away quickly. The moment he turned to leave, his expression instantly became extremely cold. In the quiet courtyard, only 4 Wei Yoruichi men were left. Big brother, Advertisement, let's go take a look too. The leader Kaguya Keita listened to the movement outside, hesitated for a while, and said calmly. The Hoshino family is the family that provides them with resources. If necessary, they still have to pay attention. Everyone else nodded, and they walked out together. Hoshino Dahe and the guards just walked out of the courtyard and came to the front hall. T-Pen had already taken Marine to the Hoshino mansion. The trained Marine kept switching teams, loaded and pulled the trigger in one go. The samurai in the Hoshino family were too exhausted to deal with it, and there was no way to make an effective counterattack, and they could only continue to suffer casualties. Is this the samurai here? Looking at the warriors who were embarrassed in the barrage, T-Pen was a little disappointed. The physical fitness of these guys was much worse than that of ordinary Marines. Damn it. Who are you guys? Seeing that most of the warriors in the mansion in front of him had fallen, Hoshino Taiga immediately pulled out the saber from his waist and asked with an extremely ugly face. Those who attacked him were so frightening that they were well trained and equipped with muskets, something that only samurai under the daimyo had. I am Colonel T-Pen under His Royal Highness's command, and I have been ordered to take over Hagia City. A sword slashed into 2 halves from the samurai attacking from the side. T-Pen looked at Hoshino Dahe indifferently. The blood dripping from the long sword in his hand was still steaming, and he saw the samurai of the Hoshino family next to him. I can't help but feel my scalp tingling. Where is this war? It is obviously a one-sided slaughter. His Royal Highness? Damn it, is that kid from the Yagayu family? Hearing T-Pen's words, Hoshino Taiga's heart tightened. Could it be that these guys were arranged by the daimyo? If that's the case, then you're going to die. In any case, in this case, it is impossible for him to live peacefully with the new highness. After Hoshino Taiga finished speaking, the guards immediately skipped the samurai in the courtyard and charged towards Marine. Advertisement: the worst of the guards are high-level warriors, and they are obviously stronger than the previous guards, not a little bit. Especially the captain of the guard has reached the level of a first-class samurai. As the guards joined the battle, the pressure on those family warriors immediately eased a lot. On the other hand, the Marines' quick speed made it difficult for them to aim, but only with the dense barrage suppression. It has been a long time. Can make those samurai unable to get close. Seeing this, the captain of the guards immediately drew his knife and slammed over the house. The clogs had been spotted on the rubble, and he was already above Marine in his breath. Hee. The captain of the guard sneered. As long as he rushed into the formation of these people, and there was no musket to stop them, these guys would be as simple as chopping melons and vegetables. Thinking of this, his eyes flashed with cruel eyes. However, he obviously forgot that Colonel Marine T-Pen was still standing by, and a cold light flashed. The captain of the guard's face suddenly solidified, a blood opening on the neck collapsed, and the blood spread a long arc in the air. His eyes widened, his eyes were full of disbelief, and he was wiped on his neck in a cold light. Peeved. The captain of the guard fell to the ground in response, his face full of unwillingness. Blood filled his throat, but he couldn't speak. The captain is dead. Seeing the death of the captain of the guard warriors who were still struggling to resist the barrage suddenly panicked, and several warriors fell into the barrage in an instant. Damn, Mike, Nakano, you two killed him for me. Hoshino Dahe also shrank his pupils suddenly, scolded secretly, and said in a deep voice again. At the same time, 2 figures quickly sprang out from both sides of Marine and charged towards T-Pen. The 2 are wandering ninjas from the country of Anko, who were taken in by Hoshino Tehi and enshrined in the house, and now they finally come in handy. Chapter 9: Right Angle Flash, Pen Air Cut. Whizzing. As soon as Mike and Nakano appeared, several shuriken hurled towards T-Pen at the same time. At the same time, following the shuriken, was the ninjutsu that the 2 had already prepared. With 2 loud shouts, the surrounding water vapor was quickly gathered by the chakra in the hands of the 2. Immediately afterwards, 2 giant water dragons that were more than 1 meter thick and 10 meters long took shape, and after giving out a lifelike silent roar, they instantly tore at T-Pen. Clang clang. All the shuriken were picked up by T-Pen with his long sword. Watching the 2 menacing water dragons pounce, he quickly jumped back and avoided the attack. Boom. The 2 water dragons slammed into the ground with a strong momentum. The water splashed everywhere, and the strong impact force even washed the hard ground out of cracks. Is this the ninjutsu of this world? In the air, T-Pen watched this scene in surprise. Good chance. As soon as the shot was in the air, Mike and Nakano were also ninjas with rich combat experience. Seeing T-Pen flying into the air, they glanced at each other, and they both understood what the other party was thinking, and immediately switched chakra, and quickly released the seal with both hands. Just now, the water dragon hit the ground. The splashed water turned into water vapor and condensed again, and after the completion of the 2 ninja seals, it turned into 2 water dragons again. The 2 water dragons had just formed, and without any delay, they were biting towards T-Pen. This guy is dead. T-Pen can still dodge if he is on the ground, but in the air, he will definitely lose the ability to dodge. Even if his swordsmanship is excellent, he must be eliminated in the ninjutsu of his 2 ninjas. Hoshino Daihe also realized this. One point, immediately put down the worries in his heart, raised the corner of his mouth and said with a sneer. Advertisement, Captain T-Pen. Seeing the 2 water dragons, entwined with each other and chasing towards T-Pen, the expressions of the 2 lieutenants of Major Marine changed immediately, and they couldn't help but screamed in worry. This time, no one thought that T-Pen would be able to escape. He was overtaken by ninjutsu in the air. Without special protection measures, he would be seriously injured if he didn't die. Brother, will this guy be killed? Not necessarily, the confidence on this guy's face doesn't seem to be very nervous. On the roof in the distance, several members of the Wei Yoruichi clan frowned in disgust. Kaguya Keita stared closely at T-Pen's face, but could not see the slightest worry on the other's face. Could this guy still not know your current situation? I hate dishonest swordsmanship the most. It also includes sneak attacks of other attacks. T-Pen looked at the 2 and said indifferently, the sneak attack by the 2 made him very unhappy, and the face that was pale and lowered like a zombie now looked even more terrifying at the moment. Death is imminent. Looking at T-Pen's indifferent eyes, Mike and Nakano were shocked, and then a thought of embarrassment came to their minds. They didn't expect that they would be frightened by people's eyes, so they snorted again and turned around. The chakra in the whole body speeds up the output of the chakra in the hand. As more chakras converged with the output of the 2 ninjas, the water dragon seemed to be getting more nourishment, and the speed suddenly accelerated, and even the figure became more rough due to the addition of water vapor. The 2 water dragons entangled each other and roared silently. This time, like a sloping waterfall, with a sense of oppression that was more than twice as strong as before, it roared towards T-Pen. Is this the ninja? It's so strong. The warriors in the distance looked at the 2 roaring water dragons that were completely different from the previous ones, their mouths wide open, and their eyes filled with envy while being shocked. In this martial Carden Island, who doesn't want to make themselves stronger? Die. Watching the 2 of them show their power, Hoshino Taiga also became excited. The stronger the 2, the more stable his position was, and even more confidence in the face of those of the Wei Yoruichi clan. Advertisement: the water dragon was enhanced by more chakra, rushing to each other in the air. Seeing that the 2 water dragons were already in front of him, with the momentum of tearing himself to pieces in the next second, T-Pen also moved. I saw T-Pen raise the clenched long sword. The hilt is higher than the back of the head, the shoulder drives the elbow, and then drives the forearm, followed by the wrist, and each time it drives the power will increase terribly. Right angle flash, pen air cut. T-Pen held the long sword and slashed it diagonally in front of him. The long sword broke through the air and picked up a silver light, which seemed to bring a roar, like thunder falling, and like lightning sliding in front of him. A terrible sword. The pressure made the hearts of the warriors tremble. This terrible sword pressure, how powerful is this guy's swordsmanship? The warriors looked at the sword in T-Pen's hand. Although they had not yet seen the power, the momentum contained in the sword pressure was enough to make the breath of all the warriors present become heavy. The cold light fell, and the sword light was released from the blade, swept across the 2 water dragons and 2 ninjas diagonally, and swept past a group of warriors in the back, before sinking into the house behind. All of this seemed to be completed in an instant. Boom. A series of roars. First of all, the 2 water dragons disintegrated as the sword light swept across, turning into countless drizzle splashes. Immediately following the house, as if a piece of tofu had been slashed diagonally, it slid down neatly along the traces swept by the sword light just now, causing a cloud of smoke and dust, and the smooth incision on the top could be seen in the lower half. However, no one paid any attention to the scattered water droplets, and no one observed the incision on the top of the house. Everyone held their breaths and looked at the warriors in the center who were also swept by the sword glow. Although they have probably guessed the result in their hearts, they still hope that their companions can block the attack just now. Peefed. Chapter 10: The Mighty Deadbone Pulse. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood, coupled with the feeling of fear in their hearts. These warriors who were used to seeing life and death couldn't help but feel dizzy. Why? How could this be? You, who are you? Hoshino Daihe's pale face was full of panic. He opened his mouth wide, his lower lip kept trembling, cold sweat soaked through his clothes for a moment. Seeing T-Pen looking at him, he couldn't help but take 2 steps back. T-Pen broke the ninjutsu of 2 ninjas with 1 blow, and also took the lives of 2 ninjas and dozens of samurai. What kind of people can do this? The river of blood that dyed the ground red in front of them made the warriors who looked at death like their home in despair. Sorrow for yourself, or grieve for your dead comrade. But despite this, no one of them put down their weapons, because the gunshots continued, and the barrage was still spewing towards them. The moment of loss of concentration just now caused many people to be shot into a sieve by the barrage and fell in a pool of blood. However, it wasn't just them who were shocked. At this moment, even on the roof in the distance, the 4 members of the Wei Yoruichi clan were full of horror. They didn't feel the flow of chakra from T-Pen, that is to say, this guy not a ninja and not running chakra support. They couldn't imagine that someone could do such a scale of destruction with their body and kendo alone without chakra. This guy is very strong. After being silent for a long time, Kaguya finally said something in a deep voice, and the brilliance in his eyes continued to flicker. The trick of T-Pen just now made him tremble. He had never seen such a well-trained team, let alone such a well-trained team. I've seen people who can break 2 top B-rank ninjutsu without relying on chakra at all. The strength of these guys even surpassed those of the guards under the daimyo. Which organizational force did these people come from? Aren't these guys going to help? Hoshino Taiga's face was panicked, and he glanced bitterly at the Wei Yoruichi clan on the roof in the distance before they wanted to do something, and he already had the intention to retreat. He moved a little bit and wanted to quietly retreat into the crowd. However, he only took 2 steps back and just turned around when he was blocked by a guy with a face that looked like a zombie. Damn it! When did you come here? Hoshino Dahe was stunned in fright, looking at T-Pen as if he had seen a ghost. This guy was just opposite, and he was only 100 meters away from him, but he came to him in his absence. Sinner, the existence of people like you will only make more people suffer. For His Highness's order, protect justice and fairness. Advertisement, tell your highness, we have protected this person. Before T-Pen finished speaking with a judgment-like voice, Kaguya Keita's flat voice came in from the side of the two of them. At the same time, in the direction of the sound, a string of white bone spurs brought a cold light towards T-Pen, shot over. There are people. T-Pen didn't have observation Haki after all, and didn't know that there were several people from the Wei Yoruichi clan lurking in the distance. The bone spur that came suddenly came to T-Pen's side in an instant with a sound of breaking through the air, which surprised T-Pen. If he insisted on attacking Hoshino Dahe, the bone spur would definitely be able to pierce his body, not to mention whether he could kill him or not. If Hoshino Dahe falls, he will definitely be seriously injured. Without any hesitation, T-Pen moved his wrist and turned the long sword to block the bone spur. Then, T-Pen tipped his toes, and with the strength of the long sword passing through the bone spur, he took advantage of the situation to get out of the way and just left. The attack range of Hoshino Taiga, who are you? 5 or 6 meters have been flashed, and T-Pen only stood still and found that there were 4 more men around Hoshino Dahe. Knowing that the visitors were not good, his face sank, and he immediately asked. We are the ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan. We have to protect the patriarch of the Hoshino clan. You go and tell your highness, let him not touch the Hoshino clan. Kaguya Keita looked at T-Pen indifferently. When talking about the Wei Yoruichi clan, Kaguya Keita and several others were obviously a little more arrogant, and even the following words were disdainful, as if the Wei Yoruichi clan were more than the big name. Be as noble. That is to say, you and the guy are a group. T-Pen opened his eyes and looked at Kaguya Keita, his mouth moved, his voice came out of his throat, and at the same time his eyes were constantly turbulent on several people, as if looking for a loophole. You can think so, then execute them together. Kaguya Keita nodded and just finished speaking, but he didn't expect that T-Pen's foot jumped up in the air and directly attacked and killed Kaguya Keita. Just now, the hard stone slab where T-Pen was standing was stepped out of a pit. The long sword was clenched tightly by T-Pen's hands, and the blade flashed a cold light in the air, just as T-Pen was thinking at the moment. This is the first order that His Highness Akira Yagayu gave him, and he must do it well. Advertisement, it's just a house slave, you dare to do something to me, you are courting death. Kaguya Keita did not expect that T-Pen would actually attack him after knowing the identity of the Wei Yoruichi clan. In its view, this was definitely an insult from the Wei Yoruichi clan, and immediately shouted angrily. At the same time, the chakra in the body was quickly mobilized. Tsubaki dance. I saw that Kaguya Keita's shoulder chakra doubled, and his right hand was also wrapped by chakra. From his shoulder, he suddenly pulled out a bone sword. The bone sword was more than 1 meter long. Although it was a bone sword, there was a cold glow flowing at the tip. Kang. The bone sword was held diagonally above by Kaguya Keita, blocking T-Pen's attack. The bone sword collided with T-Pen's long sword, making a harsh sound like metal intersecting. Dead bone pulse is also a major in physique, but Kaguya Keita's strength is still 1 point lower than T-Pen's, and T-Pen's blade has a tendency to sink. Humph. Seeing that he was being suppressed, Kaguya Keita did not panic at all, as if he deliberately let T-Pen press his head, narrowed his eyes, sneered, and pushed all the chakras on his body with all his strength, covering the chakras on the bones of Dao's body. Bone sprouts quickly grew on the bones covered by chakra, followed by countless bone spurs in an instant. Early fern dance. Countless bone spurs grew and spread wildly under the catalysis of chakra, thinking of external spurs, like countless lion majesty, stabbing T-Pen with sharp fangs, obviously a trap laid by Kaguya too early. Paper arts. Where has T-Pen seen such a method? If he doesn't avoid it, he will definitely be stabbed into a sieve, and he quickly pushes the long sword, trying to stagger with his strength. However, the other 3 men from the Wei Yoruichi tribe seemed to be on good terms with Kaguya Keita, and they were all quietly waiting for him with bone spurs, seeing that T-Pen would be stabbed by at least one of the bone spurs no matter how he dodged. Middle. Just when T-Pen was about to be injured, a man's voice came from beside him. Finger pistol. Chapter 11 Armed Broken Bones. As Vergo's voice sounded, the 2 close index fingers and middle fingers shot from the side of the crowd like bullets. When, 3 times in a row, The fingertips quickly touched the bone spurs of the three-way Yoruichi clan, and with the sound, the three people chakra urged the calcium-generated bone spurs to break into pieces in an instant under the pair of seemingly ordinary fingers. What? Seeing that their bone spurs were shattered, the Wei Yoruichi clan suddenly screamed, and a layer of cold sweat quickly spread out on their foreheads. Nameless fear also rose in their hearts, and they hurriedly bent down and backed away. And T-Pen also saw the opportunity, jumped out of the gap, and looked a little annoyed after seeing several people. Damn, are you also the subordinate of that Yagayu clan kid? Kaguya Keita watched his attack and was escaped by T-Pen. He gritted his teeth angrily, and looked at the suddenly appearing figure with gloomy eyes. He originally wanted to teach T-Pen a lesson, and by the way, let the kid of the Yagayu family see the power of the Wei Yoruichi family, so that they could provide resources for him together in the future, but he didn't expect that there were so many masters under this kid. Are you actually defeated by this kind of thing? If your highness hadn't ordered me to come, you would have died. Vergo ignored Kaguya Keita, but looked at T-Pen through his sunglasses and said plainly. Feel sorry. Gritting his teeth, T-Pen reacted from his anger and said a little embarrassedly, and his pale face couldn't tell if this guy was ashamed. However, T-Pen was also very acquainted. Knowing that Vergo was coming, he didn't have to do it himself, so he simply stepped aside and watched the battlefield while waiting for the arrival of his highness. Damn it guys, you bastards, didn't you hear my big brother's question? Behind Kaguya Keita, a man from the Teru Yoruichi clan who had just retreated to his feet immediately gritted his teeth and said angrily. Advertisement however, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw an airblade more than 1 meter high cut vertically. The strong airblade separated the air and carried the breath of tearing everything. Wherever he passed, including the blood flowing on the ground or divided, as if to divide everything in half. What? Tsubaki dance. Looking at the galloping giant airblade, the members of the Wei Yoruichi clan were so frightened that they hurriedly pulled out their hardest bones. Boom. The airblade hit the bone sword of the Nawi Yoruichi man, paused for a moment, and then cut the bone blade directly. Shish. The airblade passed through the bone sword, and in the terrified eyes of the Yoruichi man, it easily penetrated his body, and brought out a snowflake behind him. Peeved. The body of the Nawi Yoruichi man fell to the ground, with deep fear and remorse in his dead eyes. If he could, he would never choose to come here today. Dead? He killed the ninja of the Teru Yoruichi clan? Oh my god! As the Nawi Yoruichi man pondered, the warriors including Hoshino Taiga were full of fear, different from the two wandering ninjas Mike and Nakano, who had identity, and were also ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan. It is hard to imagine what kind of destruction it will bring to Carden Island after learning that a member of his family has been killed by a samurai, and even the descendants of the daimyo cannot escape the pursuit of the Wei Yoruichi clan. You guys are really crazy. Hoshino Dahe was so frightened that he slumped on the ground, his eyes widened, looking at the corpse in front of him and Vergo's flat face. His eyes were dull and he muttered, at this moment, his heart was completely filled with despair and fear. No matter what the outcome was, he will lose everything in Carden Island. Do you know what you did? After a while, Kaguya Keita's face became completely indifferent. He was so angry that he would never expect to see ultimate. These guys not only dared to attack them, but even killed the ninja of his Wei Yoruichi clan right in front of him. Advertisement, you are finished, this Carden Island will be finished. The chakra on Kaguya Keita began to circulate wildly, quickly filling every corner of the body. All I can see is that Kaguya Keita's limbs, shoulder armor and other places where the bones meet, all grow arc-shaped bone spurs, exuding cold light, and chakra flowing on it, like a wasp's tailspine, exuding a terrible breath. Shish. The next moment, Kaguya Keita moved his footsteps, setting off a wave of air on the ground, like an arrow from a string, rushing towards Vergo quickly. Every bone spur on his body is his weapon. As long as it is touched, it will definitely stay. The next bloodhole. In the blink of an eye, Kaguya Keita appeared on Vergo's side, and first stabbed Vergo's waist with a bone spur on his elbow. Chakra was like a poison, and was gathered at the tip of the bone spur. As long as a layer of skin was rubbed, chakra will be injected into the blood, and it is like a deadly poison to deal with people who do not have chakra. In the face of Kaguya Keita's sudden attack, Vergo's face was still calm. The bamboo penny was in Vergo's hands, like a dragon, and it was precisely on the bone spur that Kaguya Keita attacked. Ding! With a bang, the seemingly ordinary emerald green bamboo pole was actually made of steel, easily picking apart Kaguya Keita's hard bone spurs. However, there were too many bone spurs on Kaguya Keita's body. When his elbow was picked apart, Kaguya Keita opened his heart, hugged Vergo, and grabbed Vergo's calf. Early fern dance. Kaguya Keita is like a hedgehog, and the bone spurs on his body grow wildly, and Kaguya Keita is like a maggot in the tarsus, grabbing Vergo tightly and cannot be thrown away at all. If you are hugged by me, there is no possibility of getting rid of it. Damn it, go to hell. Kaguya Keita's originally indifferent face ignited a bit of madness again, roaring, and the fire of rage in his eyes became more and more lush. Seeing that the wildly growing bone spurs were about to pierce Vergo, Hoshino Dahe also woke up from his sluggishness, staring at the two of them tightly. Armament enhancement. Ding. 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 Chapter 12 Ghost Bamboo. Smash Dead Bone Pulse. Huh? What happened? Regardless of the samurai around, or the remaining two ninjas of the Teru Yoruichi clan, They looked at the two of them after listening to the direction of the voice, and then their faces were stunned. When the Teru Yoruichi people attacked, the samurai chose to surrender, and the ninjas intervened, so they didn't need to fight anymore. Seeing that the samurai gave up their resistance, the marines stopped attacking, and the scene fell into silence. Collision sound. In between, Vergo's whole body was covered by a pure black that did not contain any impurities. No matter it was his skin or clothes, he could not see any color other than black. And Kaguya Keita's bone spur, after hitting Vergo, was quickly blocked, or could not be stored at all. The growth of the bone spur was blocked or pushed away, and Kaguya Keita hugged Vergo's arm also felt the pressure increased sharply. Damn, how could this be? Who the hell is this guy? There was no way for the bone spurs on his body to break through Vergo's defense. Kaguya Keita felt it immediately, and immediately clenched his teeth and sank in his heart. Have you struggled enough? Vergo looked at Kaguya Keita indifferently, and the indifferent voice was very abrupt in this silent scene. What? Kaguya Keita's heart was suddenly startled, and a strong unease suddenly rose in his heart. Instinct told him that now he should leave here as soon as possible. According to intuition, he quickly let go and wanted to escape. However, it was already too late. The bamboo pole in Vergo's hand was also covered with armament Haki along with Vergo, and the hardness was further strengthened. I saw Vergo's wrist turning, and the bamboo pole was spun by Vergo's dance, bringing out bursts of cool wind, and at the same time, due to the friction of the airflow, it also brought out bursts of whistle, which rang in the courtyard. Suddenly, Vergo closed his wrist and the wind stopped abruptly. Vergo kicked Kaguya Keita into the air with one leg, and bamboo was also thrown from the side by Vergo at this time. Ghost bamboo. Advertisement bamboo stirs the air, and before it arrives, it already has a terrifying power, and the pressure makes the people watching the battle around can't help but tremble. Do not want. Kaguya Keita finally understood the gap between him and Vergo now. Looking at the bamboo pole that seemed to be ordinary, but brought him a sense of terror and crisis, Kaguya Keita did not dare to keep it any longer, and tried his best to mobilize the little chakra on his body. After the bone spur was stimulated by chakra, the calcium grew wildly again. Almost blinking will cover Kaguya Keita like a white sea urchin, trying to block Vergo's blow. Boom! With a muffled sound, the top of Vergo's penny collided with Kaguya Keita's bone spur, making a dull sound, and the terrifying force struck the bone spur as if it brought a circle of vibration ripples to the air. Hoshino Taiga, the closest to the two, and the remaining two Wei Yoruichi ninjas clearly felt the waves in the air, almost squeezing the flesh on their faces. It gives the impression that Vergo's penny hits Kaguya Keita, just like the impact of a mountain. Crack. With a light sound, everyone looked at the sound again. The bone spurs wrapped around Kaguya Keita and Vergo's penny quickly won a circle of cracks, and the cracks were still rapidly spreading around at a speed visible to the naked eye. Everyone held their breath and stared at Kaguya Keita. In a few blinks of an eye, the bone spurs outside Kaguya Keita were all covered with a layer of cracks. Whoa! As if it had been covered with tortoise-patterned glass, the bamboo swept through, like the autumn wind sweeping the leaves. The bone spurs burst one after another, and the barrier formed by the bone spurs finally couldn't resist Vergo's attack. For countless fragments. Boom! The bone spurs shattered into pieces, and the Kaguya Keita inside was directly pulled out by Penny's remaining strength, and finally hit a rockery in the distant courtyard like a cannonball, and the whole person was directly embedded in it. After that, blood flowed out from under Kaguya Keita along the rock, and Kaguya Keita himself was silent, and there was no bone support in his body, and it flowed down like mud. Advertisement. The bones are all shattered. No one knows when he died, maybe at the moment when Kaguya Keita's bone spurs shattered. Kaguya Keita has already shattered along with the bones in her body. Big brother is also dead, but elite Jonin. Kaguya Keita died, and the remaining two men from the Wei Yoruichi clan were so frightened that their hearts were broken. Kaguya Keita had the strength of Jonin, but was killed by Vergo. Thinking that they were only Chunin, they didn't dare to look at them again. Vergo glanced at them, and the two were in pain as if their gallbladder had ruptured. Run. They didn't dare to look at Vergo. It didn't mean that Vergo wouldn't care about them. When they noticed that the two of them were gathered by countless eyes, they suddenly felt a sudden shock, and immediately threw a few smoke bombs on the ground, and the courtyard was quickly shrouded in smoke, the vast expanse of white. It can be said that you can't see your fingers. Without any hesitation, the two of them fled as if flying. The two of them jumped back and forth on the roof, and they had already escaped the distance of more than a dozen houses in their breath. Fortunately, it's just an ordinary warrior and didn't chase after him. Damn it, he actually killed Big Brother Gwei, and the patriarch must kill them to avenge Big Brother. The two men of the Wei Yoruichi clan looked at the city wall in the distance and breathed a sigh of relief, then said viciously, "Stay with me to see your highness." As soon as the two of them finished speaking, a familiar voice sounded from above the two of them. What? The two of them stopped suddenly, as if they had been electrocuted, and then looked up tremblingly. I only saw that the air was constantly blowing out under Vergo's feet, putting Vergoto in the air. Chapter 13 announced the Lord, entered the island of Carden. We surrender, we won't run away, don't kill us. Seeing Vergo standing out of thin air, the remaining two of the Wei Yoruichi clan slumped down and begged bitterly, completely losing the idea of running away. Looking at the two, Vergo flashed disdain in his eyes. Are all the ninjas in this world so useless? Vergo stepped down from the air and came to the two of them, their cold sweats falling. I saw Vergo raise the bamboo pole and counted the legs of the two of them. I don't believe you. Bang, 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 bang. What? With a few muffled sounds, the legs of the two were directly abolished by Vergo, and each hugged his own legs and howled in pain. Vergo carried one person in one hand, and when he returned to the Hoshino family's mansion, Akira Yagyu had already arrived there. Your Highness, these two are from the Kaguya family. Throwing the two of them on the open space in front of Akira Yagyu like a dead pig, Vergo said. The Kaguya family? Your Highness, this Kaguya family is a ninja family, they. Hearing that the two claimed to be members of the Kaguya family, Kitano Ichiro, who was next to Akira Yagyu, was shocked and quickly explained to Akira Yagyu, and at the same time wanted to explain the stakes, but was stopped by Akira Yagyu waving. Advertisement, His Royal Highness, please spare us. As long as His Highness lets us go, we will definitely not report to the clan that you killed our Jonin. The two were pale, and they opened their eyes with difficulty. When they saw Akira Yagyu's face and Kitano Ichiro's explanation, they immediately knew that this was the master and said excitedly. According to Kitano Ichiro's reaction, it seems normal to them. This daimyo's son should be very aware of the Kaguya family's status in this country of water, and I believe Akira Yagyu will never refuse their proposal. Of course, they said this for their own lives. When they return to the family, they will definitely bring people to destroy these guys as soon as possible. Hiss. Kitano Ichiro, who had just stood firm, only felt a whirlwind when he heard the news. A Jonin-level ninja is a rare and top-notch combat power in any country. On weekdays, it is difficult to see a Jonin. Several subordinates actually killed a Jonin, and there is still a family Jonin. A ninja with a family is different from the rebellious ninja who assassinated Akira Yagyu before. Rebellion and ninja are equivalent to being chased and killed. Almost no force dares to take it in. It is even more miserable than the wandering ninja, and the ninja of the Kaguya family is still Jonin. To kill them is absolutely equivalent to fighting against the entire Kaguya family. Also, Jonin who was able to kill the Kaguya family, are these two guys also ninjas? Kitano Ichiro looked suspiciously at T-Pen and Vergo. He also had chakra, but he couldn't use ninjutsu, but he could also sense whether others were fighting with chakra, but the two were obviously just like ordinary people, which allowed him to directly overthrow the conjecture that the two were also ninjas. Samurai killed a Kaguya Jonin without chakra. Although he felt that he must be crazy to have this idea, Kitano Ichiro still murmured. As soon as Kitano Ichiro said this, the rest of the guards who followed Akira Yagyu looked at Kitano Ichiro in shock. They all listened to the conversation just now, and they all looked at Vergo and T-Pen, filled with heat. Is the Kaguya family powerful? Killing 4 is no different from killing 2. Akira Yagyu shook his head. He still knew about the Kaguya family, but he would not be threatened by the two. This time, Kitano Ichiro didn't say anything. After all, even if Jonin was killed, a fool would think that the Kaguya family could let them go. Like other samurai, he looked at the two of Vergo fiery. Advertisement. Seeing that Akira Yagyu rejected their proposal, the Kaguya family immediately changed their expressions and wanted to say something, but Akira Yagyu signaled T-Pen to end the two. The cold light flashed, the heads of the two fell to the ground, and they rolled out a distance of more than 2 meters. His Royal Highness, what about these retainers and warriors of the Hoshino family? Do you want to kill them together? After T-Pen eliminated the 2 Wei Yoruichi people, he pointed to the hundreds of disabled warriors behind. When those warriors heard T-Pen's words, their scalps felt numb, and they knelt on the ground and lowered their heads, making no sound. You figure it out. Akira Yagyu rubbed his head. T-Pen knew what to do. He didn't need to say more. Tomorrow, the Hoshino family and Hoshino Dahe will be beheaded to the public, and the cities will be warned. In the future, Carden Island will be taken over by my Yagyu family. Akira Yagyu didn't even ask who Hoshino Taiga was, but he didn't need to ask the person who was going to be beheaded tomorrow. Arranged everything properly, Akira Yagyu didn't stay in the Hoshino family's mansion. He didn't want to live in the mansion where thousands of people had just died. He went straight out of the Hoshino family mansion and brought Vergo and Kitano Ichiro to Kongja City for a long time. The Lord's mansion prepared by the heirs of the daimyo, Akira Yagyu can be said to be the Lord here in the future. The Lord's mansion is only 10 minutes away from the Hoshino family. The blue-gray bricks and gates seem to have been built for a long time, and they have long been prepared for the unsuccessful descendants, but I just don't know who it is. Compared to the Hoshino family, this place is much smaller, only about 1/3 the size, but there are also 3 halls and 6 courtyards. Everything is better than quiet. There are no buildings around the Lord's mansion, not even a few big trees outside the mansion, most of which are open spaces to protect the Lord's safety, and of course for the future expansion of the branch house after its prosperity. Long before Akira Yagyu arrived, 3 marine ensigns had taken over the place with dozens of marines, so Akira Yagyu did not encounter any obstacles to enter the Lord's palace. However, except for the calm near the Lord's mansion, the entire Carden Island was boiling. Chapter 14 Marine Standard Base Building. With the fall of the Hoshino family and the news that Hoshino Da will be beheaded the next day, all the family forces in the cities of Carden Island are restless. What? You mean the Hoshino family will be beheaded tomorrow? What's the matter? Didn't that highness just come here, and it is said that he brought more than a dozen bodyguards with him? How did he solve the Hoshino family? However, the more explosive news was about the Teru Yoruichi clan. 4 ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan have all died here, and there is also a Jonin. Carden Island is going to end. The lords of the various forces on Carden Island are hid in their own lair and rushing around. Although there is a treaty in the ninja world, ninjas cannot take the initiative to attack ordinary people, but 4 ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi tribe died at the hands of this new lord. Superior. Thinking that the entire Carden Island, large and small, might be wiped out by the Wei Yoruichi clan by dispatching ninjas, and they could become the target of the Wei Yoruichi clan's destruction at any time, everyone was restless. Despite the resentment in their hearts, no one dared to go to the initiator of this incident, the newly appointed Lord Akira Yagyu. Of course, there is no shortage of eyeliners from the big names, who reported the matter, and for a while, all kinds of things that happened on Carden Island were leaked out. Of course, this kind of news didn't just cause unease on Carden Island. First of all, the Wei Yoruichi clan knew immediately that the 4 fell on Carden Island. What's going on? Kada is elite Jonin's strength. How could he die there? Who can tell me what's going on? The patriarch of the Wei Yoruichi clan, Kaguya Takuya, was in the family meeting hall, glaring at the people below, and finally his eyes fell on the clan ninja of the intelligence department. According to the news from Carden Island, Kada and the others all died at the hands of a samurai. Everyone below was suppressed by Kaguya Taku's gaze, so they didn't dare to raise their heads and kept silent. Seeing that Kaguya Taku was about to break out, the personnel of the intelligence department hesitated for a while, and suddenly said, "Laugh. Advertisement." Hearing the report of the intelligence officer, some people couldn't help laughing out loud, but after Kaguya Takuya glared at him, he immediately restrained his smile. What the hell is going on? Kaguya Takuya was so angry that he wanted to laugh. One of 4 ninjas, including one elite Jonin, was killed by a samurai. How could it be possible? It would be more acceptable to say that a rabbit killed a wolf. But after all, he is the patriarch of the Wei Yoruichi clan, and he is discussing the death of a Jonin in the clan. He must take it seriously. In this period, any ninja is a valuable resource in the clan. The samurai was said to have only used a bamboo staff, and his body could be covered with a strange black layer. Kata's dead bone pulse's bone spurs couldn't touch that samurai at all. Bravely, the people in the intelligence department still told all the news that they knew. He couldn't believe this kind of news, but it was indeed true. Hearing the words of the intelligence department, the eyes on the scene suddenly became strange again, as if some mockingly the intelligence department could not find any clues and made up here. Okay, no matter who killed Kata, I'll send the Blood Bone squad to bring the murderer here. I want to see people in life, and I want to see corpses in death. By the way, I will also let those families who have recently been disobedient to discipline be honest. Kaguya Takuya saw that someone was about to laugh at the intelligence department again, and slapped the table directly, and a majestic voice sounded. Everyone present immediately retracted their gazes, and their faces became solemn. The Blood Bone Squad is the elite assassination unit of the Wei Yoruichi clan. There are a total of 12 members in it, all of whom are elite Jonin. Kaguya Kada is one of them. This time, the Blood Bone Squad is all dispatched. I am afraid that the patriarch is planning to kill. It was getting late. Akira Yagyu took Kitano Ichiro and Vergo to stand in the open space outside the Lord's mansion. His Royal Highness, it's getting late. You have been working hard for a day, you should rest early. Ichiro Kitano behind Akira Yagyu is still a little excited. He doesn't know if Akira Yagyu is tired or not. He only knows that he is definitely stimulated today. The person next to him who can defeat the legendary Jonin without relying on chakra, look. It's so ordinary, right next to him, which makes Kitano Ichiro not excited. The samurai worshipped strength, and chakra was more of an external force to them, and they wanted their own strength to be as strong as a ninja if they could. However, no one has done it for so many years. At most, it is only possible to extract chakra and use it, so as to see the destructive power of ninjas. Advertisement. Ignoring Kitano Ichiro, Akira Yagyu was still scanning the open space ahead, as if picking something. Due to the special relationship between the site selection, there are not even half of the households living around the open space, and the houses have not yet been built. Speaking of which, the Lord's mansion seems to be completely isolated. But this is exactly what Akira Yagyu wanted. Ding. The current site is suitable for the construction of the marine base building. Do you want to build it? The sound of the system machinery sounded from Akira Yagyu's mind, and at the same time, a light green giant bunker-like architectural phantom appeared on the open space in front of Akira Yagyu, which appeared at the place where Akira Yagyu's eyes were sure, so that Akira Yagyu could turn again. Or position adjustment. Put up. Akira Yagyu had just chosen, and Kitano Ichiro, who was following Akira Yagyu, only felt a flower in front of his eyes, and suddenly a blue-gray giant chimney building appeared in the open space in front of him. The building exuded a simple, solemn and majestic atmosphere. How could this 100-meter-high chimney make him feel so stressed? What surprised him even more was that the Marines didn't seem to be surprised at all, and were still carrying out their tasks seriously. Gudong. Hall, Your Highness, this big chimney. Kitano Ichiro swallowed and pointed to the building in front of him and asked carefully. Chimney. Go in. Akira Yagyu was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Marine's standard base building to be called a chimney. There were dozens of artillery chimneys inside. He shook his head without explaining, and after saying a word, he walked in. Gudong, what kind of person is His Highness? It seems that everything has been prepared. Are you finally going to start the mysterious plan that you have planned? Kitano Ichiro kept guessing in his heart, and he became more and more convinced that Akira Yagyu had already prepared and everything was in his plan. Asterisk. Chapter 15 Quickly cut the fruit. After entering the marine base building, it is not as dark as imagined. It is different from the quaint gray walls outside. The light from the surrounding windows is refracted by the bright colored walls and spreads throughout the base, but because the sky is getting late, there are still bright lights on the surrounding stone pillars, which are extremely bright. Kitano Ichiro didn't expect that from the outside, what looked like a simple chimney-like building would be so gorgeous inside. His amazed eyes kept observing the surrounding structures. Everything was amazing to him. Following Akira Yagyu's continuous upward walk, Kitano Ichiro found that starting from the third floor, at least 8 gate artillery was placed on each floor. This giant fortress with a height of nearly 100 meters has a total of 14 floors. There are hundreds of artillery pieces inside. And each artillery is equipped with 2 boxes of shells. As long as there is an enemy, you can definitely fight back at the first time. As that's so, Kitano Ichiro recalled the information in front of him, and his heart became even more excited. Originally, he thought that he would follow this highness. After coming here, his life will be uneventful. He did not expect that His Highness Akira Yagyu has prepared so many backups. With this kind of equipment, it is possible to kill Jonin's strong warriors. The current daimyo has miscalculated this time. Akira Yagyu had just arrived at the top floor, and through the surrounding windows, the entire Hygeia city was brightly lit and had a panoramic view, especially where the Hoshino family was. Marine, who was busy checking the Hoshino family's property, could see it clearly. At this moment, the mechanical sound of the system sounded. Ding. Complete the mission. End the civil unrest in Carden Island. Quest reward. Paramesha devil fruit. Cut the fruit quickly. Is it done? Ichiro Kitano. Looking at the devil fruit in the inventory, Akira Yagyu thought for a moment and suddenly exclaimed. Ah, yes. When Kitano Ichiro was fascinated, he heard Akira Yagyu cry. He immediately reacted, and he came to Akira Yagyu's side in 3 steps. A lot more worship is the worship of the true master. This is for you. Advertisement. Akira Yagyu didn't seem to notice the change of Kitano Ichiro. As if by magic, he took out a purple brocade box with golden patterns on it, and said lightly. Seeing that Akira Yagyu was going to give him something, Kitano Ichiro was startled, and without hesitation, he hurried forward to take the golden box and open it. This is. When the brocade box was opened, there was a light green thing like a banana. It was covered with weird ink-colored lines, which made people seem to be able to sink into it. The whole fruit revealed a strange atmosphere. Not sure, then looked at Akira Yagyu curiously and asked. This little highness has given him too many incredible things, and he really can't guess what medicine this highness is selling in the gourd. This thing is called devil fruit. After taking it, it can change the body structure of the eater. It seems that this should be the quick-cut fruit of Paramesha. After eating it, you can turn any part of your body into a sharp steel blade. However, if you eat it, you will have the ability to float and swim on the water. Vergo glanced at Ichiro Kitano, explained it for Akira Yagyu, paused, and said the drawbacks of devil fruit. What? Devil fruit. A sharp blade anywhere in the body. Like the blood of the Teru Yoruichi clan. Kitano Ichiro was taken aback, and the devil fruit in his hand was almost thrown away. What kind of weird fruit is this? He actually created the same bloodline as those of the ninja family out of thin air. It's much more advanced than those bone spurs. You'll know after you eat it. Seeing Kitano Ichiro's startled appearance, Vergo frowned and said impatiently. Hearing that Vergo was too lazy to explain further, Kitano Ichiro looked at the devil fruit in his hand in amazement. He knew that Akira Yagyu would not harm him, but no matter how it looked, it seemed to be a poisonous thing, which could turn the whole body into a blade. The fruit is really incredible. As for the drawbacks of not being able to swim as mentioned by Vergo, he completely forgot about it. By gathering chakra on the soles of his feet, he can levitate on the water, and he does not need to consider the problem of not being able to swim at all. After looking at the quickly chopped fruit again in amazement, Kitano Ichiro looked at what looked like a banana, and whether he needed to peel it or not, he directly opened his mouth and bit it. Okay. Devil fruit had just been chewed in his mouth, and Kitano Ichiro's brows immediately wrinkled. Advertisement. It's still unpalatable. Kitano Ichiro's heart moved. He had never eaten such an unpalatable fruit. No matter the taste, there was a strong bitterness in his mouth. Not enough. He knew that Akira Yagyu would not harm him, so he stopped chewing and swallowed it one by one. Just take a bite, you can actually finish it. Akira Yagyu was also surprised when he watched Ichiro Kitano gobble the fruit. Although he had never eaten it, he knew that this demon was very hard to eat. How can the reward of your highness be wasted? Kitano Ichiro was stunned. He didn't expect it to be like this, but he didn't dare to complain about Akira Yagyu, and immediately rubbed his head and smiled awkwardly. However, Kitano Ichiro's face immediately froze. Keng, Keng. After hearing the sound coming from above his head, Kitano Ichiro immediately stopped his hands, looked at his hands that seemed to have turned into a pair of sharp blades, and touched the back of his head, which had also turned into sharp blades, and immediately widened his eyes. I am. Kitano Ichiro's lips trembled, his eyes almost popping out. Although he had heard Vergo explain it before, when he really watched his hands turn into sharp steel blades, he was so frightened that he was almost speechless. What's even more amazing is that with the movement of his thoughts, those steel blades actually disappeared again and turned into his soft skin again. Familiarize yourself with your abilities. As a swordsman, coupled with the fact that you can cut the fruit quickly, your current strength should not be much worse than T-Pen. Looking at Kitano Ichiro's performance, he nodded with satisfaction, and then walked out with Vergo, leaving Kitano Ichiro to familiarize himself with pondering here. He has successively owned a team of Marines led by T-Pen, opened the mall system and reputation system, as well as the Marine base building, plus this devil fruit. In general, today's harvest is still very rich for him. As for why you don't eat devil fruit yourself, there is one reason. I don't like it. Asterisk. Chapter 16 Execute Beheading, like a god. Early the next morning, the central square of Hygeia City, the size of 5 football fields, was already bustling. As early as yesterday, T-Pen had already brought out the news that members of the Hoshino family would be executed today. Nearly half of the people of Hygeia City gathered here, and there were even people outside who had just received the news and were rushing here. What's the matter? Why is the central square so lively today? Hey, I heard that the Hoshino family was wiped out by the new lord yesterday, and the members of the Hoshino family will be beheaded here today. What? The Hoshino family was wiped out? Fake it, the Hoshino family has been the boss of this Carden Island for so many years. Why is the Lord of the Heart so powerful? Who knows? No matter what, it's a good thing for us that the Hoshino family is destroyed. We just hope that this new lord will exploit less than the Hoshino family. The Hoshino family is not a good kind in this Hygeia City, and even only across Carden Island. In the eyes of the exploitation of the people of Carden Island, countless people have a skeptical attitude and want to witness the demise of the Hoshino family with their own eyes. On the other hand, I also hope to see what kind of person the lord of the Hoshino family who will decisively destroy the Hoshino family is. Before long, T-Pen took a group of Marines and escorted more than 100 prisoners to the high platform in front of the central square. On weekdays, the speech platform that Hoshino Da used as a noisy speech platform became his execution platform today. The high platform was 50 in length and wide in width, enough to accommodate 1,000 people. There were 300 or 400 prisoners plus Marine, but it did not seem crowded. There are also 4 war drums on both sides of the high platform, and 2 burly men are standing under the war drums. I don't know what they are going to do. Hoshino Da and his clansmen are all lonely, especially Hoshino Da looking at the familiar scene, glaring at the front with a face full of unwillingness, being escorted by 2 Marines and walking in the front, with a thud, kneeling in front of the people fell to the ground. Hiss. Seeing that the patriarch of the Hoshino family was really escorted, the people below instantly became quiet, and everyone stared intently at the guy who did all the evil in front of him. Damn guy, I didn't expect you to have this day too. Advertisement. Looking at Xingye Da, an old woman came out of the crowd tremblingly, spat, and said viciously. She was over half 100 years old, but her excited eyes were filled with tears. The old woman was more like a leader. His vicious spit seemed to ignite the anger of the people below who had been oppressed by the Hoshino family for a long time, and the entire central square suddenly boiled. Seeing that the Hoshino family, who used to oppress the people in the past, was now like a vicious dog who was bound and slaughtered, the people were excited. After about 2 hours, the people were tired of scolding, and it was already noon. The central square was overcrowded because people from other places continued to join in, and the atmosphere was still high. T-Pen had to shoot. Go out of Marine to help the few garrison soldiers in Hygeia City to help maintain order. Seeing that the time was almost up, Ichiro Kitano started walking to the stage. After eating the kuaisho fruit yesterday, he was so excited that he stayed up all night and spent the whole night familiarizing himself with his new abilities on the top floor of the Marine base building. If Ichiro Kitano was worshipped by Akira Yagiyu's methods before, he now has the same belief in Akira Yagiyu as a god after eating the fruit. Everyone, please be quiet, we are here for your highness Yagiyu. Kitano Ichiro came to the stage and shouted loudly. At the same time, the big man who was preparing beside him beat the war drum at the same time. The drum sound resounded throughout the square like thunder, and the people immediately suppressed their excitement and calmed down. His Royal Highness Yagiyu, the Lord of Shinlai, is a member of the Yagiyu family. No wonder he was able to exterminate the Hoshino family. The people became even more excited when they heard Ichiro Kitano mentioning Yagiyu. The Yagiyu family can be said to be the center of the people of the whole water country. There are people from the Yagiyu family who serve as lords here. Make countless people proud. Lord, 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 Lord. The warriors who had been prepared for a long time below also shouted at this time. When they heard the shouts of the warriors, the square shook again, and everyone shouted. Tens of thousands of people shouted in unison, a magnificent scene, a strong shout. The sound immediately spread throughout the city, from Hygeia City. Let and Xie wait for the people who are waiting to enter the city to feel like a cat is scratching their hearts. Advertisement. Amid the shouts of tens of thousands of people, Akira Yagyu, wearing a black folded black hat and a blue kimono with a gold trim, slowly walked to the middle of the high platform. And as Akira Yagyu's slightly immature face came into view, the people who were originally shouting were stunned, and the scene suddenly fell into silence. The Hoshino family and Hoshino Taiga, the head of the Hoshino family, flouted the law, framed the Lord, and exploited the people of Carden Island. I, the Lord of Carden Island, Akira Yagyu, decided to execute the sentence and execute it immediately. Taking advantage of the quiet time, Akira Yagyu turned to the Hoshino family and finished his verdict with a solemn statement. After that, Marine, who had already held up his musket and had been preparing for a long time, pulled it one after another, and the barrage swept frantically over the prisoners of the Hoshino family. I cannot be reconciled. When Hoshino Da heard Akira Yagyu's verdict, he suddenly raised his head in the barrage. He was not reconciled. He was defeated without even saying a word from this new lord. His unspeakable mood made him finally roar, fall in a pool of blood. Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Long live the Lord! Seeing that Akira Yagyu, whose face has not yet receded, is their newly appointed lord. The people who were still somewhat skeptical, watching Akira Yagyu's execution, after the people were surprised, they shouted again with a higher voice, and even many people's faces flushed with excitement, and they tried their best to shout out the excitement in their hearts. The idea of the people of Carden Island is very simple. No matter how old the lord is, as long as the Hoshino family can help them eradicate their sins, they are the best lord. This time the execution of the Hoshino family, Akira Yagyu directly became the god who saved them in the hearts of all the people of Carden Island. Chapter 17 Crocodile. If the news that T-Pen had previously informed about the collective execution of the Hoshino family was aimed at Carden Island and Hygeia City, then the official execution today would definitely have caused a sensation in the entire country of water. Especially the vassal of the water country closest to Carden Island, the sea country. There are no ninjas in the country of the sea, and it is managed by the Heian family. The mother island of the sea country. The Hoshino family was destroyed by the new lord of Carden Island. The current big name, Heian Bauchisuk, is frowning, watching the news from Carden Island, and reading out the content of the news repeatedly. The Hoshino family was destroyed. That's a good thing for us. Hearing the words of the name, the ministers below immediately said with surprise, a relationship with the Hoshino family. Every time they go to the country of water to pay tribute, they have to prepare an extra copy for Carden Island. If the Hoshino family is destroyed, then they will definitely be able to relax a lot in the future. Good thing. Heian Bauchi said with a strange expression. What made him strange was that the letter said that the ones who killed the Kaguya family ninjas were only samurai who didn't even have chakra. The new lord of Carden also killed 4 Kaguya ninjas, including a Jonin. After a pause, Heian Bao Kisuk straightened his face and continued. What? Isn't Carden Island finished? When the ministers below heard this, they all seemed to have seen a ghost. Ninjas are a rare high-level combat power in a country. That guy actually killed a ninja of the Wei Yoruichi clan. Isn't he afraid of the Wei Yoruichi clan's revenge? That's right, it won't be long before Carden Island will usher in the revenge of the Wei Yoruichi clan. As the name of the country of the sea, Heian Hokusuk can take care of the country of the sea in an orderly manner without ninjas. Of course, it can be guessed that the Wei Yoruichi family will never swallow this breath. In the capital city of the Water Kingdom, Akira Yagyu, that kid, you are courting death. The next big name, Yagyu Guangxi, looked annoyed. The Hoshino family was a force that he single-handedly supported. It was originally intended to vacate Carden Island, but it was destroyed by an exiled son. Advertisement. The next day, Akira Yagyu, who got up early to exercise, was soon instilled in his mind by the system's prompt sound. Ding. Congrats to the host's reputation spread all over the island of Carden. Get the prestige point * 100. 100 reputation points can also be exchanged for a mid-level Marine General recruitment order from the reputation system. Akira Yagyu listened to the system's mechanical prompt, and immediately shook her head and clicked on the personal information. Reputation system. Junior Marine General Recruitment Order, Prestige Point 10, Intermediate Marine General Recruitment Order, Prestige Point 100, Senior Marine General Recruitment Order, Prestige Point 1000, Junior World Recruitment Order, Prestige Point 10, Recruitment Order for Intermediate Marine Generals, Reputation 100. Recruitment orders. There is no limit to the recruitment of generals, it is only the level of recruitment probability. Of course, the highest and most cost-effective way to summon top generals is the Advanced Recruitment Order, so Akira Yagyu is not in a hurry to exchange. Your Highness, you are awake. Colonel T-Pen and I have already counted all the property of the Hoshino family. The total value is 1,913,671,412. Please take a look. Kitano Ichiro, who had been waiting outside the door for a long time, saw Akira Yagyu walk out of the room, and immediately stepped forward and handed over the tally book. Akira Yagyu was a little dazzled by the series of figures. Nearly 1.1 billion taels of silver, the country's tax revenue for the next year is only the same. Looking at the series of figures on the account, Akira Yagyu sneered, but since the money is in his hands, it is his own, and Akira Yagyu does not intend to send it out mercifully. Ding. Congratulations to host for getting 2 silver coins. Ding. Congratulations to host for having over 1 billion wealth, and completing the achievement, the richest party. Achievement reward. Advanced World Recruitment Order 1. The mechanical voice of the system sounded, giving Akira Yagyu good news. The World Recruitment Order is a quest that can be recruited outside of Marine in the pirate world. I don't know if it can summon Whitebeard, the legendary strongest man. I don't know if I can summon the legendary Whitebeard. Hearing this, Akira Yagyu, who was originally sneering, immediately showed joy, and immediately clicked the recruitment order to start recruiting. Ding. Consume 1 advanced world recruitment order and start recruiting. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully recruiting original Shichibukai, Crocodile. Immediately afterwards, a curtain of light similar to when Vergo was recruited before appeared in front of Akira Yagyu. Name. Crocodile. Advertisement. Title. Crocodile. Race. Human. Rank. Former Shichibukai. Dao Strength. 4700. Ability. Sand Fruit. Skills. Desert Prison, Sandstorm, Desert Sunflower, Cracked Surface, Erosion Cycle. Weapon. Sasori Poison Needle. The Dao power of 4007 is a little lower than that of Vergo, but as a Logia fruit person, Crocodile's strength should be in the use of Devil Fruit. Looking at Crocodile's message, Akira Yagyu kept talking to himself in his heart. Report to your highness, someone from outside the door said he was looking for you. Just as Akira Yagyu was continuing to read the account books, a marine suddenly ran into the courtyard and reported loudly. Coming. Akira Yagyu was overjoyed and stopped the account book he was reading, which made Kitano Ichiro a little strange. He didn't understand who could make his highness so happy. Your highness, I will bring someone to meet you. Seeing Akira Yagyu's happy expression, Kitano Ichiro said immediately and planned to leave after saying that. No, I'll pick him up myself. Akira Yagyu shook his head, stopped Kitano Ichiro, and walked quickly towards the door. However, in Kitano Ichiro's eyes, this is even more surprising. You must know that Akira Yagyu has an existence like Vergo who can kill Jonin, and what kind of people can Akira Yagyu personally meet? With doubts, he followed behind Akira Yagyu, and as soon as he came to the door, he found a burly disabled man with a cigarette in his mouth. Chapter 18 Wei Yoruichi Clan Attacks. The person his highness is waiting for is him. Kitano Ichiro glanced at Crocodile in surprise. The man in front of him had a long scar on his face. He was dressed in a black plush hood, and his left hand was replaced by a golden hook. This is called Crocodile, and the whole body is full of sturdy-looking men who give Kitano Ichiro a strong sense of oppression. Shichibukai Crocodile, have seen your highness. Seeing Akira Yagyu coming out, Crocodile immediately saluted, and then his eyes fell on Vergo who was behind Akira Yagyu, and the two nodded to each other. However, Crocodile's face is still fierce and rebellious because of the scar, and it is estimated that it cannot be changed. Very good. Determined to be Crocodile, Akira Yagyu nodded in satisfaction. Desert King. Crocodile, as one of the predecessors of Shichibukai, although in this country of water may be limited by the ability to face water style, but this cannot be used as a reason to underestimate any Logia fruit ability, let alone in according to Akira Yagyu, Crocodile's greatest use is not in the land of water. Okay. At this moment, Vergo suddenly raised his brows and looked forward. His Royal Highness, someone has come with obvious hostility. Hostility. Hearing Vergo's reminder, Kitano Ichiro looked forward with a blank expression. Giggle, is this the Lord's mansion of Carden Island? The dark chimney next to it is really cheap. Before anyone arrived, the voice came first, and the woman's crisp laughter came from a distance. Shoo, swish, swish. A series of black shadows flashed out, and 11 figures appeared in the open space in front of the main entrance of the Lord's mansion. Among them, a woman was holding her hand and smiling softly. Everyone is dressed in uniform, with pigtails, 2 red dots on their foreheads, and white kimonos. Advertisement. Ninja of the Teru Yoruichi clan. Looking at the outfits of these people, Ichiro Kitano immediately said in a deep voice, expecting that the Wei Yoruichi clan would come to Carden Island to retaliate against his highness, but he didn't expect it to come so quickly. Yo, we can still recognize our identities. That's right, that guy, Keita, should have died in your hands. The guy with the bamboo pole. To be killed by a samurai with a bamboo pole, that guy Keita is really shameful, we can only avenge him. The ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan laughed, and every time they said a word, Ichiro Kitano's heart sank. Looking at the 11 Wei Yoruichi ninjas in front of him, he could be sure that these people were not weaker than elite Chunin. Several of them, and even the breath they exude, made him feel a little shudder. 11 powerhouses of at least the elite. Ichiro Kitano couldn't help sweating on his forehead just thinking about it, but seeing the calm and composure his highness next to him, Vergo's own guy named Crocodile, Ichiro Kitano followed another inexplicable moment. Relax. Don't talk nonsense with them, hurry up to complete the task and go back to life. Now is an extraordinary period, and the guys from Kirigakure can't sit still anymore. Looking at Akira Yagyu and the others in front, a man from the Teru Yoruichi clan who was shorter in stature couldn't help but urged. After he finished speaking, the short boy Shinobu didn't care about his companion's answer, he directly pulled out a short bone blade from his shoulder and arm. At the same time, the slate under his feet was cracked, bringing out a wave of wind and waves, and he blinked his eyes and opened in front of Kitano Ichiro. What? It was also the first time for Kitano Ichiro to face the powerhouse of the Wei Yoruichi clan. Looking at the Wei Yoruichi ninja who came to him in the blink of an eye, he couldn't help being surprised and raised his hand subconsciously to block it. On the contrary, the little ninja had a sneer, his eyes were full of cruelty, and even a ninja who had perfected physical skills could not stop his bone blade, which was about to pierce Kitano Ichiro's chest. Clang! Hey, what? With the sound of friction after the collision, it was the exclamation of the ninja. Even the ninjas of the Tenwei Yoruichi clan in the distance looked horrified. I saw Kitano Ichiro's arm turned into a sharp blade, and the ninja's bone blade was cut open after being resisted. Advertisement. And the sharp blade not only did nothing, but the bone blade of the short ninja had a gap. Steel done. No, it is absolutely impossible for steel done to surpass dead bone pulse in hardness. What kind of bloodline limit is this? A group of ninjas from the Wei Yoruichi clan exclaimed one after another as if they had seen a ghost, their faces filled with disbelief, and their eyes were fixed on Kitano Ichiro. I was blocked by me, the attack of the dead bone pulse, your highness, thank you. I, Kitano, would like to be your dead bone in front of the saddle and be loyal to you forever. Looking at his arm that turned into a sharp blade, Kitano Ichiro murmured, then looked at Akira Yagyu gratefully, knelt down and swore in excitement. He had been practicing before, and there was no comparison, so he didn't feel anything, but he really blocked this kind of Jonin-level attack, and also destroyed the opponent's weapon. If he didn't experience it personally, he couldn't believe it was caused by his own skin. He also knew that this was not the result of his own efforts. Everything was due to the merit of the one called Kuaisho fruit given by his highness. Ghost bamboo. Just when everyone was surprised, Vergo's voice caught everyone's attention. I saw Vergo's expressionless face, and the green bamboo pole in his hand fell like a pillar of optimism, smashing straight at the face of the short ninja. What? Damn guy. Looking at the bamboo pole that was gradually getting bigger in his field of vision, the short ninja was so frightened that he was terrified. While cursing, he quickly urged chakra in his body. Midway down. Crack. Vergo's bamboo pole directly smashed the bone spurs that the short ninja's wrists resisted, and in the end, the castration did not decrease at all, and smashed heavily on the ninja's face. The powerful force made it impossible for the ninja to survive, and his entire head was knocked down from the middle of his shoulders. Boom. The corpse of the little ninja fell down with a muffled sound, but it struck the hearts of the Wei Yoruichi ninjas like a heavy hammer, and everyone stared blankly at the corpse of their companions. Dead. Dead. Chapter 19 Ghost Bamboo Dragon Tooth. Kitano Ichiro saw that at least the elite Chunin-level powerhouse was solved by Vergo with a bamboo pole in front of him. Kitano Ichiro said dumbly. It was the first time he saw Vergo fight a ninja of this level. As for the woman who was assassinated before has absolutely no strength of this ninja. Originally, he thought that before Vergo killed Wei Yoruichi Jonin after a bloody battle, he didn't expect it to be so easy. Damn guy. The remaining 10 ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan also widened their eyes. All of them tried to ask themselves if they were facing the sudden attack by Vergo just now, and none of them could stop it. Thinking of this, the faces of the ninjas became clear. Sink. I thought it was just a simple warrior, but I didn't expect to be so strong. You know, the guy just now was Jonin. Everyone, be careful, it seems that Kata's death is not wrong. The arrogant female ninja's face became extremely solemn. Looking at Vergo, all the contempt in her heart was thrown behind her head. Needless to say, those ninjas also understood that this time they really encountered a master, and cautiously looked at the Vergo people in front. Whether it was Kitano Ichiro's blood-like boundary similar to Gangdun or Vergo's surprise attack, let them all doubt the identities of these people. Let's go together, there must be no more mistakes. Losing a Jonin again is a big blow even for the Wei Yoruichi clan. The leader of the Blood Bone Squad, Kaguya, will never allow any more casualties. Quick fight. With the order of the brave Kaguya, all the ninjas present rushed towards Vergo like hungry wolves. Everyone was sure in their hearts that as long as the puzzle with the bamboo pole was solved first, everyone else would be trivial. Come on. In the face of so many people, Vergo didn't dare to underestimate him. He walked away from Akira Yagayu's vicinity, and then calmly looked at the Wei Yoruichi ninjas who were all wrapped around him like hedgehogs. At the same time, Vergo's body was gradually covered by armament Haki, and even the green bamboo pole in his hand became pitch black and strange, exuding a luster like black gold, which made those ninjas even more frightened. Advertisement. The one who came out first was the leader Kaguya Yuto. I saw that he was different from the previous Kaguya Kata, but turned his hands to the waist on both sides, and he pulled out 2 huge leg bones. Drink. The brave Kaguya gave a low voice, kicked his feet, and brought a wave of wind and waves. When he encountered the midair, 2 bone hammers were in his hands. Chakra stimulated his muscles, and with the momentum of shaking the sky, he suddenly smashed towards Vergo diagonally ahead. The bone hammer was in midair, with heavy power, and Vergo below was like a light boat swaying in the sea, as if it could be torn apart by coercion alone. Ghost Bamboo Dragon Tooth. Through the sunglasses, Vergo looked at the giant hammer coming in front of him, his wrists turned, and the bamboo pole spun rapidly. Then, with a movement of his feet, he moved his calves, linked his waist and hips, and finally swung his upper body, turning the black bamboo poles covered by armament Haki hard. Kaguya's bone hammer slammed into it. Boom! The black bamboo pole collided with the white bone hammer, and the contact of the two terrifying forces produced a terrifying annular shock wave that spread to the outside. A Wei Yoruichi ninja who was holding a bone spear on the side and planned to sneak attack on Vergo felt the crisis. Suddenly startled, he quickly abandoned the attack and quickly pushed the bone spear away from him. With one blow, Kaguya's face changed. He only felt that the bones of his body were shaken loose, as if they would be broken at any time. He quickly wanted to let go of the drumstick, but the high-frequency vibration after the two sides collided. Now, it's very difficult for Kaguya to let go of the drumstick at this moment. Humph! With a groan, the Kaguya brave man ran chakra, urging the calcium in the wrist bones to grow rapidly, forcibly pushing himself away from the attachment of the bone hammer. Cough cough. Although it is a physical training, the strength of the Kaguya brave man is still no match for Vergo's full-strength swing. Free from the pressure of Vergo's power, the Kaguya brave man only feels a sweetness in his throat, and a burst of blood overflows from the corner of his mouth. Scare. Looking at the appearance of Kaguya brave man, several ninjas were shocked. You must know that Kaguya brave man is the strongest in the blood and bone team, and was actually injured by a blow. This guy is not weak, don't fight him head on. Advertisement. Kaguya brave man clutched his chest, turned chakra to press down the blood in his chest that still wanted to pour out, and said in a deep voice. The faces of several ninjas became more solemn, and two of them nodded to each other. I saw the two raise their hands at the same time, their fingers linked together, and a little bit of bone was drilled from the fingertips. 10-finger piercing. As the two drank in unison, in an instant, the speed of the countless bones of their 20 fingers even surpassed the speed of musket bullets, and shot towards Vergo quickly. The phalanx forms a barrage in the air, and the ultra-high speed rubs against the air in the air, forming a circle of ripples, which can smash the surrounding things into it. At the same time, two Wei Yoruichi ninjas pulled out bone spears and projected them towards Vergo's sides, apparently blocking Vergo's way of dodging. I can't hide, let's see what you do. The eyes of a group of people are full of ruthlessness. Since you are powerful, you can use long range to consume you. No matter how fast you are, it is impossible to block the 20 bone bullets fired at the same time with a bamboo pole. However, then they felt the despair of Kaguya Kada. Ding, ding, dang, dang, kai, dang. A series of dense sounds like setting off firecrackers made the ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan twitch in their hearts. Damn, is this guy still human? Who the hell are they? They couldn't fight in close combat, but they couldn't fight at a distance. The minds of a group of Wei Yoruichi ninjas sank to the bottom of the valley. If that's the case, don't blame me. In the end, the ninja sneered, and suddenly turned around and rushed towards Akira Yagyu, who was watching the battle from a distance. Asterisk. Chapter 20 Erosion of Samsara. I saw that the ninja inserted her slender hand into the back of her neck and yanked it violently, and a 2-meter-long white bone chain was pulled out from the back of her neck. This bone lock is the spine of a female ninja. Chakra links each bone together, which can be arbitrarily transformed into spears, chains or even long swords. The bone collar is like a long white snake, and the snake body has 3 rows of tiny bone spurs like serrated teeth. Be careful, Your Highness. Unexpectedly, the female ninja of the Nawi Yoruichi clan would suddenly abandon Vergo and turn to assassinate Akira Yagyu. Kitano Ichiro exclaimed and turned around to block Akira Yagyu. Control the place as much as possible as a steel blade. Kang. Laugh. The ninja's bone lock is not a straight bone spur. It was blocked by Kitano Ichiro in the first section, and the bone lock at the tail directly wrapped Kitano Ichiro, and the bundle was tight. The bladed arms are blocked. I am afraid this will directly kill him. HMPH, idiot. Seeing that her bone lock was blocked by Kitano Ichiro, the ninja sneered, released the bone lock directly, took out another bone blade from her arm, and came to Akira Yagyu. Damn it, Your Highness. Kitano Ichiro didn't think that the ninja didn't care about him at all. Ishin only thought about Akira Yagyu, and his face changed again, but he couldn't get out quickly now, even though the bone lock did not have the continuous link of the Nawi Yoruichi ninja chakra, but the bone spurs are still embedded in the flesh. Sadly weak, don't even have the courage to escape. Looking at Akira Yagyu, she seemed to be stunned. She didn't move and didn't react at all. The ninja even showed a cruel smile, and the bone blade stabbed straight at Akira Yagyu's throat. She had already imagined Akira Yagyu because of her own. The bone blade wiped the throat and blood spattered on the spot. Just at this moment, the female ninja suddenly noticed. She thought that Akira Yagyu, who had been scared and stupid, actually showed her a mocking smile, which made her suddenly vigilant. She didn't understand why Akira Yagyu was able to show such a smile, but she knew that this guy might still there as a backhand. However, seeing that Akira Yagyu's vital point was close at hand, the ninja gritted her teeth and chose to continue to charge. After all, there was no room for her to go back. Advertisement. Just when the bone blade was less than 10 inches away from Akira Yagyu's throat, the ninja suddenly found herself unable to move an inch. What? The female ninja looked at the large, rough hand above her arm, and was surprised. She raised her head and saw Crocodile's terrifying face. Do you think it's possible to kill His Highness in front of me? Crocodile bit the cigarette and said coldly towards the other party. Damn. The ninja cursed inwardly, and the chakra on her body converged toward her palm, trying to push the bone spur down Akira Yagayu's throat. Idiot woman. Crocodile immediately noticed the ninja's careful thoughts, frowned, and snorted coldly. At the same time, Crocodile grabbed the ninja's arm violently. Arost Samsara. What happened? The bone spur just advanced for half a minute and suddenly stopped, making the ninja startled again. Then, she found that her chakra could not flow on her arm, and subconsciously looked at her arm. Her pupils shrank, her eyes widened like bells generally. She saw that her tender arm was shriveled like a withered branch at the moment, and even that withering continued to spread towards her body. What? My arm. With a scream, the ninja wanted to retreat quickly, but found that she couldn't exert any strength at all. Looking closely, her legs had been absorbed to the ground by a pile of sand. No, please, don't. Advertisement. Watching her body shriveled, the ninja began to plead bitterly, hoping that Crocodile would let him go, but she could not get the slightest response from Crocodile. Gradually, the female ninja's voice became weaker and weaker, and finally turned into a black-brown mummy. Gudong. The ninjas in the distance also heard the screams of the female ninja. When they looked here, there was only a mummified corpse left. They also guessed in their hearts that it was their companion, and looked at the companion who was even more miserable than the short ninja before. Each of them couldn't help swallowing their saliva. Damn it. It's Elite Jonin from Sunagakur. Evacuate quickly and report the situation here to the head of the family as soon as possible. Kaguya brave man was paying attention to this side the whole time, seeing that Crocodile could use yellow sand to imprison his comrades without having to seal at all. Kaguya brave man already had deep fear in his eyes, and immediately urged his companions to say. What? Sand shinobi at the elite Jonin level. A few ninjas from the Wei Yoruichi tribe heard Kaguya brave's warning, and suddenly their bodies trembled, their faces full of wonder. How could sand shinobi run here? Moreover, he is still in contact with the descendants of the daimyo of the land of water. Does the land of wind want to skip the land of fire and attack the land of water? Do the guys from the land of winds want to start a war? How dare you send sand shinobi to interfere in the internal affairs of the land of water? The expressions of the members of the Wei Yoruichi clan changed greatly. You must know that under normal circumstances, the ninjutsu that sand shinobi is proud of is difficult to exert all its power in this country of water. The distance spans almost the entire land of ninjas, and since ancient times, sand shinobi has almost never appeared in the land of water. But no matter what, all this is just their guesses, and now their top priority is to get out of here quickly. Looking at Vergo and Crocodile who were squatting on the ground with a smile and looking at them, the remaining members of the Wei Yoruichi clan couldn't help but shivered, preparing to flee here one by one. Want to go now? It's too late. Seeing those people trying to escape, Crocodile laughed mockingly. Oops. The members of the Wei Yoruichi clan looked at Crocodile's smile, and subconsciously had a bad premonition, and the bad premonition even became heavier. When they raised their legs and wanted to leave, they found that the slate land under their feet had melted. For a piece of yellow sand. Asterisk. Chapter 21 Scary Sand Fruit. When is he? The ninjas looked in horror at the sand flowing under their feet like water, and asked in horror. When? Just as I squatted down. Hearing the exclamations of the ninjas, Crocodile let out a disdainful laugh, and stood up with a grin and a cigarette. This guy. Looking at Crocodile's relaxed face, the ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan were gloomy and almost dripping with water, and at the same time they felt even more fearful. Become yellow sand. Think of a way, run quickly, and get out of here as soon as possible. Kaguya brave man has no desire to fight again at this moment. Looking at Vergo, who was staring at him, he immediately snorted, and the chakra on his body ran, condensed on his feet, and quickly broke free from the shackles of quicksand. Seeing this, the others no longer hesitated, and all began to turn chakra. But Crocodile won't give them much time. Hehehehe. Looking at the actions of those people, Crocodile laughed disdainfully again. In laughter, Crocodile turned the quicksand on both hands, and suddenly, 4 sand blades formed. Damn. Looking at the 4 sand shinobi in Crocodile's hands, a group of people suddenly felt their hair on the flag, panicked in their hearts, and madly urged chakra, wishing to return to the clan now, and never return here. Desert King Kong Sword. Shaw, 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 shaw. With 4 sounds in a row, the 4 sand shinobi quickly escaped, bringing up the yellow sand and turning the sky into yellow. Advertisement. Hurry up. Watching sand shinobi shoot at them, the ninjas had sweat soaked their clothes, and they knew that even if they pushed Dead Bone Pulse with all their strength, they couldn't stop the attack. Now, their only hope is to escape from this damn quicksand as soon as possible. The first to escape from the quicksand was Kaguya, the leader of the Bloodbone squad, and immediately turned to look at his comrade. Captain, save me. A few people saw the Kaguya brave man pull out, and immediately looked at the Kaguya brave man with a look of hope. With his help, they can escape before Sand Shinobi arrives, but they are too many, and the Kaguya brave man can only help a man, and, if he saves people, then they really all have to stay here. Looking at the only remaining companions who were still struggling and bound by the yellow sand, the Kaguya brave man suddenly hesitated. I'm sorry, if I save you, none of us will be able to escape, and even the whole family will fall because of this. Glancing at Sand Shinobi who was approaching again, Kaguya Yuto gritted his teeth and finally said in a deep voice. Between the hesitations, the 4 Sand Shinobi have already rushed over. Looking at Sand Shinobi, Kaguya quickly turned and ran away. Hearing Kaguya's words, watching Kaguya's escape without looking back, the remaining Wei Yoriichi ninjas finally gave up their resistance. They stared blankly at Sand Shinobi who was galloping in front of them. They never thought that today, they came to a small island to perform a mission to kill a samurai, and so many of them would die here. Boom! Sand Shinobi cut through the bodies of those ninjas with ease, and the sand beneath the feet of the ninjas that finally hit them exploded. The violent explosion sounded almost halfway through Hygeia City. The yellow sand driven by the explosion directly rushed towards the Kaguya brave man who had just gotten out of the way. Every yellow sand was like a small bullet, and the yellow sand like countless bullets smashed Kaguya brave man's left arm and back in the blink of an eye. The blood was blurred. The terrifying impact also made Kaguya brave man's body sank suddenly, but he still insisted that he did not fall down, still insisted on running away, and kept beating between the roofs of the room. What happened? I don't know, it's the sound from the direction of the Lord's mansion. Advertisement. The residents of Hygeia City were all attracted by the sound of the explosion. After walking out of the house, they saw the yellow sand drifting in the sky in the distance, and they immediately panicked. I heard that the Lord killed the ninjas of the ninja family, we should leave it alone and pretend that nothing happened. What? The ninja family? The Lord won't be killed, right? He just helped us destroy the evil Hoshino family. Some residents of Hygeia City who knew a little about the inside story knew that they would not mind their own business. Want to run? Can you run away? After Crocodile eliminated those ninjas, Crocodile said coldly as he watched the brave Kaguya go away. Even Kaguya's heroic state cannot escape, not to mention being seriously injured by the explosion of the Desert Diamond Sword. At the same time, Crocodile's body was covered with sand and dust, his legs turned into a mass of rolling yellow sand, and his body quickly rose into the air. And Kaguya, who was fleeing in the distance, felt uneasy again instinctively. He didn't dare to look back, so he could only speed up again. Seeing that Crocodile's entire body turned into sand, he rushed into the sky to chase after the brave Kaguya. No need to chase, let him bring the news here back. Akira Yagayu's voice suddenly came to Crocodile's ears, and the sandstorm stopped quickly. Crocodile didn't hesitate, didn't ask why, withdrew from the elemental form, bit his cigarette and walked silently behind Akira Yagayu. 11 of the top fighting forces died at once, and the strength of the Wei Yoriichi clan was greatly reduced. I don't know what will happen to Kirigakure. Akira Yagayu muttered thoughtfully, looking at the Kaguya warrior who had turned into a black spot. Kitano Ichiro has also been freed from the shackles of the bone lock at this moment, and the bone spurs simply did not hit the vital point. Kitano Ichiro can still be alive after a few days of rest. Now Ichiro Kitano's eyes have changed when he looks at Crocodile. 9 of the 11 management ninjas of the Wei Yoriichi clan who came here were killed by this boss. If it wasn't for His Highness to stop him, I'm afraid the other one wouldn't be able to escape. Even the top Sand Shinobi, Your Highness, how many such masters are hidden? Chapter 22 Reactions from all parties. Carden Island. The people have long been accustomed to the busyness of getting up early. Some boat bosses and people hurriedly drove the fishing boats out of the port and began to make plans for their future lives. There are also some rural people who bring handicrafts from the village to Hygeia City to sell in exchange for some daily necessities that are not available in the countryside. Because the tyrannical Hoshino family was destroyed by the new lord, the people of Carden Island were less worried and frightened in the communication, and there was more joy in their words, as well as admiration for the new lord. At this moment, the people of Carden Island, no one knows that recently, in addition to the Hoshino family being wiped out by Akira Yagayu, the top fighting force of the Kaguya family has almost lost their casualties here. Inside the Daming House on the mother island of the country of the sea, Heian Hokasuke, the famous name of the land of the sea, was flipping through the list of goods that he planned to pay tribute to the land of water this year. At this moment, Heian Bao Kisuke's confidant walked in quickly from the outside with a letter in hand. After entering the room, he dismissed all the servants serving around him, leaving only the 2 of them. Looking at this scene, Heian Bao Kisuke frowned, looking at his confidant, a little unclear. Reporting, Your Excellency, about the letter from the people of Hygeia City. The letter said that there was a sound like a battle in the direction of the Lord's mansion the day before yesterday, but the new Lord of Hygeia City has nothing to do. I suspect that the Kaguya family's revenge failed. Quote. After confirming that there was no one around, the confidant quickly handed over the letter and said in a low voice, the words were full of disbelief. He didn't know how many ninjas the Kaguya family took to take revenge on the new lord of Carden Island, but being able to appear in Hygeia City unscathed after the battle was enough to show the power of this young new lord. Absolutely, it's not as simple as it seems. What? Hearing the report of the confidant, Heian Bao Kisuke stood up directly from the seat, and quickly took the letter that had been opened it quickly, and swept his eyes quickly over it. It seems that the descendants of the famous name of the country of water do have unknown strength, and the Hoshino family is not a loss. Advertisement. Heian Bao Kisuke looked at the letter, his heart could not be calm for a long time, his thoughts turned quickly, and finally sat down again, his brows were almost locked together. Your Excellency. The confidant let out a worried cry. He, no matter what, he's just a kid who just left the family. Immediately prepare gifts and send them to the Lord's mansion on Carden Island. After thinking about it for a while, Heian Baochisuk raised his brows, laughed, and waved directly. At the same time, under the tribute list just now, he took out another note to tolls for Carden Island, which he directly crossed out. Intelligence Office, I need you to give me an explanation. At this moment, within the Wei Yoruichi clan, Kaguya Takuya, the head of the Kaguya clan, met the Kaguya brave man who had been seriously injured, and immediately held a family meeting. The current Kaguya Takuya seems to have aged by a dozen years, and his white hair has grown a lot. Seeing the people below, his eyes are full of bloodshots, which is really scary. This time, the people from the Wei Yoruichi clan's intelligence department did not dare to speak out. The brave Kaguya fled back with serious injuries. Of course, they also knew the result of the battle. As the 12 top fighting forces in the clan, the Bloodbone team could only be seriously injured. Escape to 1, this is something that no one can imagine. Jonin. 11 Jonins were left on Carden Island. Do you know how much time and energy it takes to cultivate a Jonin? Kaguya Takuya's voice was very vicissitudes of life, with a feeling that was hard to put into words. The high-level ninjas of the family who were present kept their heads down and did not dare to make a sound. This time, no one dared to ridicule the intelligence department, because they knew that the family lost blood and bones. The current situation after the team. To put it bluntly, the Blood-Bone squad can be said to be almost all the top combat powers of the Wei Yoruichi clan. Can any of you tell me what we should do next? Taking a deep breath, perhaps it was too sad compared to the last time, Kaguya Takuya glanced at the crowd and asked in an extremely flat tone. Advertisement. This shocked everyone present. Did they know that even their patriarch was a little desperate? Homeowner. In the end, it is the people in the intelligence department who speak out what they know, always more than the people present. Just after speaking, the eyes of the audience immediately focused on the person in charge of the Nawi Yoruichi clan intelligence department. Sand Shinobi has appeared on Carden Island, and there are such strong samurai. Maybe this kind of thing should be solved by the daimyo of the Land of Water and Kurigakure, rather than let us blindly invest in combat power. I mean, this has risen to the battles between nations and between ninja villages. Lifting his head, the person from the intelligence department said in a deep voice, hearing that the expressions of the people around him were constantly changing. How can it be possible? If Kurigakure knew, then we secretly planned to accumulate combat power, and soon it was revealed. An old man in the clan immediately spoke up, but there was uncertainty in his words. Revealed. The Lord of Carden Island only knew that our people were with the Hoshino family at the beginning. What's the point of being exposed? What's more, even if he knew what we were secretly doing, do you think the guy from Daimyo and Kurigakure would believe a guy with Iron the Samurai of the country, or even the guy who colluded with Sand Shinobi? The people from the intelligence department sneered, and the eyes of everyone in the audience narrowed, understanding what he meant. Okay, let's do it like this, pass all the information you know to Kurigakure and the capital. At that time, the Daimyo and Kurigakure will even more hope to kill this danger. By the way, don't tell them too much, just say that the Lord of the Land of Water colluded with Sand Shinobi and the super-class samurai. In the end, Kaguya Takuya's eyes recovered and became stern. He glanced at everyone, and finally fell on the people in the intelligence department. After saying a sentence, he paused and continued. His idea is very simple, not only want Kurigakure to shoot, but also don't want Kurigakure to win too easily, at least let Kurigakure leave some high-end combat power. Yes, I understand, I'll do it now. Chapter 23 Akira Yagyu Crazy Training. Inside the training ground on the first floor of the Marine Base building. The surrounding windows illuminate the hall brightly, and there are 2 rows of green plants around, which add a bit of life to this majestic building. In the middle of the training ground, several figures are inside, and one of the young people is carrying out weight-bearing training. After eliminating the ninjas of the Teru Yoruichi clan, Akira Yagyu took Vergo and began to train himself. Your Highness, is it really okay? Seeing Akira Yagyu running in the training ground with his upper body bare and his sandbags dripping with sweat, Kitano Ichiro asked worriedly beside him. Although the sandbag is only 200 jins, there is no problem for him, but His Highness, as the heir of a famous name who has always been pampered, has never had such high-intensity exercise training. Before, even carrying a bucket of water was difficult, but now he can actually carry it. Sandbag. In his opinion, this Highness is not like other nobles at all, even himself, under the same conditions, with the support of Vergo and Crocodile, and even a mysterious organization, it is difficult to like His Highness, willing to do high-intensity training again. Why don't you take a rest? Kitano Ichiro picked up the tea brought by his servant and cried out to Akira Yagyu in distress. I'm fine, Kitano, you can go to training too, but don't be overtaken by me. Akira Yagyu shook his head. The 200-pound sandbag has exceeded the limit of his current body. If it weren't for the cohesion method that Vergo taught him, he probably wouldn't be able to carry it, let alone run. Yes. Seeing Akira Yagyu's serious appearance, Kitano Ichiro's expression immediately became serious, and he replied loudly. He knew that his current strength was in His Royal Highness's team, and he already belonged to the tail of the crane. If it was before, he would have recognized it, but after having the quick cut fruit, he also became confident. Even if Akira Yagyu didn't care, he will never allow himself to gradually become a dispensable existence in His Highness' team. The pride of a samurai is to never give up even if there is even a glimmer of hope. Your Highness, the time is up, you can rest. Vergo took a step forward, glanced at the time, and said suddenly. Advertisement. Call. Hearing Vergo's voice, Akira Yagyu exhaled and threw the sandbag 2 or 3 meters away. As the sandbag left his shoulders, Akira Yagyu felt a sense of relief in his body, followed by an indescribable soreness. Your Highness, you are injured. Quick, prepare hot water and wound medicine for His Highness immediately. Looking at Akira Yagyu's strict compliance with the training requirements, Kitano Ichiro admired and noticed the bloodstains on Akira Yagyu's shoulders rubbed by the sandbag. From the beginning to the end, His Highness never shouted. If it wasn't for the sandbag to be removed, he couldn't find it at all, so shocked that he quickly took out a towel and ordered someone to prepare hot water. Why are you panicking? This pain is not painful to His Highness. Crocodile, who was watching from the side, came over, glanced at Ichiro Kitano, and said disdainfully. Forehead. Hearing this, Ichiro Kitano immediately looked embarrassed, thinking that when he was training in the past, he often suffered such pain, and even risked losing his life. What's wrong? Looking at Crocodile, Akira Yagyu rolled his eyes. Even if he came from the earth, but this body is really thin skin and tender meat. You think everyone is like you pirates, no matter how you fight, immune to death. Report to Your Highness. The country of the sea is here to ask to see you. At this moment, T-Pen walked in quickly outside the door and reported loudly. People from the land of the sea. Akira Yagyu was stunned for a moment, not knowing why. His Royal Highness, the country of the sea borders the eastern part of the country of water. It is a country next to Carden Island. It makes a living by fishing, and there is no strong force in it. Every year, it will pay tribute to the country of water and seek shelter. This time, the news of His Highness killing the ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan in revenge may have already spread. I guess the kingdom of the sea is here to show his favor. Advertisement. Ichiro Kitano, who was next to him, saw Akira Yagyu's doubts, and immediately told what he knew about the kingdom of the sea. Appreciate. Bring them to see me. Akira Yagyu nodded, and did not directly reject the request for an interview from the Sea Kingdom. Is it here? Would it be a little rude? Kitano Ichiro glanced at the somewhat messy training ground around him, and immediately asked curiously. However, seeing that neither Vergo nor Crocodile spoke, Kitano Ichiro immediately silenced. Both of them were able to pick the Kingdom of the Sea, and the Kingdom of the Sea only sent one messenger. Speaking of which, the Kingdom of the Sea was disrespectful, right? The messenger sent by the Kingdom of the Sea this time is none other than the eldest son of the daimyo of the Kingdom of the Sea, the next daimyo, Fujiro Heiun. There is something special in this big chimney. Originally, Fujiro Heiun was taken to a large chimney by T-Pen and was still a little dissatisfied, but after seeing that the inside was completely different from the gray outside, he immediately had another thought, and his eyes swept around with fiery eyes. The heart that fell on the training ground in the distance did not know what to plan. Your Highness, the messenger is here. T-Pen backed away after bringing Kawajan Fujiro in front of Akira Yagyu. Following the voice, Heiun Fujiro also immediately looked forward. His eyes fell on Akira Yagyu's green face, and his eyes were stunned. This is the guy who killed the Hoshino family. Sure enough, he's a kid. Heiun Fujiro looked at Akira Yagyu, and his mind suddenly became alive. Hello, Your Majesty, I am Fujiro Heiun, the eldest son of the great name of the Kingdom of the Sea. I heard that Your Excellency took office, and I brought a gift to congratulate you. Glancing at the people around Akira Yagyu again, Heiun Fujiro said softly, standing up straight. As the next great name of the Kingdom of the Sea, he would not salute a small lord. This is in Kitano Ichiro's eyes. Immediately gave this guy a big bad review. Asterisk. Chapter 24 Bad News Kills People. Hello. Akira Yagyu nodded directly, looked at the other party, and guessed the true purpose of the Kingdom of the Sea. Your Excellency is a mere lord, the next big name of the country of the sea is here to congratulate you on the happy event of taking office. Is this the kind of treatment? Looking at the other party's neither salty nor bland appearance, Heiun Fujiro frowned and said suddenly dissatisfied. You and I are both nobles. There should be some politeness among nobles. As if afraid that Akira Yagyu might not understand, Kawajan Fujiro continued to explain. After speaking, he stood up straight, with the attitude of an elder, thinking that he was older and older than the Lord of Carden Island, and the tone of the lesson in his words was naturally not concealed. Noble, since you are a noble, when Your Excellency comes to visit, you should take etiquette first. He had always stayed in the gate of the daimyo before, and Ichiro Kitano also knew the noble etiquette. He was disgusted by the next daimyo of the Kingdom of the Sea after only the first contact. When the director speaks, the servants should not interrupt. Your Excellency, if I were you, I would directly beat this talkative servant. Fujiro Kawajan glared at Ichiro Kitano, as if he felt his identity was being tarnished, and turned to Akira Yagyu. It's a pity you're not me. Akira Yagyu replied flatly, and then looked at Fujiro Heiun as if he were an idiot. Is this guy going a little too far to test himself? Don't you know that you have been tested, and you are afraid that you will really make enemies for yourself? However, Heian Fujiro obviously did not realize this. He came this time to make sure that the Lord of Carden Island, who dared to kill the Wei Yoriichi ninja and was not afraid of revenge, was for the entrustment of his famous father. The bottom is fine. Akira Yagayu's words made Heian Fujiro look extremely embarrassed, and then he recovered immediately, giving Akira Yagayu a deep look. In his eyes, the Lord of Carden Island is just a young man, who doesn't know how to weigh the pros and cons at all, and would provoke him because of a guard servant. If it was his, he would never choose that. Advertisement. Since this is the case, Your Excellency, then treat it as if I didn't say it. Heian Fujiro did not continue to investigate Kitano Ichiro, and after glancing at Kitano Ichiro again, he turned to Akira Yagayu. My name of the country of the sea heard that Your Excellency was the Lord of Carden Island, and also killed the Hoshino family who was the one who caused the disaster, and specially ordered me to send a congratulatory gift. Although Heian Fujiro did not pursue Kitano Ichiro's affairs, it did not mean that he gave up his plan to test Akira Yagayu, so he took out a pearl from his arms. Pearls look very ordinary, and there is no feature at all. Obviously, these are pearls that can be found in any market in Hygeia City. This is the pearl found by the warriors of the country of the sea from the deep sea in the south. Although it is not precious, it is also our heart. Heian Fujiro said it very seriously. Although he had already clearly stated that this was an ordinary pearl, he still held up his hands, posing as a peerless treasure. Akira Yagayu couldn't bear to see Fujiro Kawajan acting like a clown by himself. Do you know what you mean by doing this? Akira Yagayu raised her brows, looking at Fujiro Kagawa and asked indifferently. I don't quite understand what you mean. Heian Fujiro is puzzled, he thinks differently. According to his plan, if the lord in front of him wants to secure his position, he should accept or return it. Whether he accepts or rejects it is up to him. As expected, he has a way to lead the other party by the nose, but what does this sentence suddenly mean? It seems that the news of the Kingdom of the Sea is not very well informed. Otherwise, you definitely don't want to come and give me any congratulations. Akira Yagayu looked at Heian Fujiro as if he really didn't understand what he meant, touched his nose, and said simply and easily. Kindness. Heian Fujiro still doesn't know why, but Wei Wei seems to have a bad premonition in his heart. Do you know how many ninjas we killed the Teru Yoriichi clan? Seeing that Akira Yagayu shook his head with a look of hating iron and steel, Kitano Ichiro spoke up. Advertisement. Have no idea. Seeing Kitano Ichiro asking himself in this tone, Fujiro Heian frowned and was a little unhappy, but still Kaido solemnly. 14 ninjas in total. 14. When Ichiro Kitano said 14, Fujiro Heian breathed a sigh of relief, much less than he expected. It seems that the lords of Carden Island are not as powerful as they imagined. Their own country of the sea has hired hundreds of ninjas, only 14. Heian Fujiro said with disdain in his heart. That's right, if I'm not mistaken, the 11 members of the Blood Bone Squad should all be Jonin level. Kitano Ichiro nodded and continued. He was attacked by elite Chunin-level female betrayal ninjas on his way down to Carden Island with his Royal Highness, and the pressure that those Wei Yoriichi ninjas put on him was obviously not the ability of the previous female betrayal ninjas. Comparable. Come on, Jonin. Hey, hehe, stop kidding, how could it be Jonin? How could you kill Jonin? Don't lie to me. Heian Fujiro was trembling all over, suppressing the fear in his heart. He shook his head and said, he didn't want to believe Kitano Ichiro's words. Although they could afford hundreds of ninjas, they were all Chunin. I can't even afford a single Jonin, but this guy actually told himself that they just killed 11 Jonin. Heian Fujiro couldn't believe it anyway. If what Kitano Ichiro said is true, then this Carden Island will definitely become the target of public criticism, and even the name of the country of water cannot be included here. And he, as well as the Kingdom of the Sea, at this time, he is still showing his favor to Carden Island, and at the same time there is a stimulus to test this guy. It is definitely offended by both sides at the same time. Thinking of this, Heian Fujiro could not wait to slap himself a few times at this moment. It seems that poor information is really killing people. Akira Yagayu sighed at the look of Fujiro Kawajan who couldn't believe it at the moment. Chapter 25 Arc Moon Sand Dunes. Sorry, Your Excellency Yagayu, I see that Your Excellency is still busy, so I won't bother. If there is nothing else, I'll leave first. Regardless of whether a few people are lying to him or not, things are not going the way they planned, Heian Fujiro said quickly. Without waiting for Akira Yagayu to reply, Heian Fujiro immediately shrank his head and walked towards the door, walking so fast that he didn't even believe he could walk so fast. Didn't you come to give the congratulations? Leave the congratulations. Akira Yagayu looked at Fujiro Heian's back with a smile in his heart. This kind of self-righteous person has always been unable to bear the unexpected things. Hearing Akira Yagayu's voice, Kawajan Fujiro's body trembled, and his speed quickly increased. How can this kind of roadside goods be worthy of your lord? I'd better go back and change my country's treasures and give them to you. How could Heian Fujiro dare to give gifts to Akira Yagayu? Akira Yagayu killed so many Jonins of the Wei Yoriichi clan. Kurigakure, who gathers all the ninja clans in the land of water, will never allow the existence of strong people other than himself in the land of water. It will not be long before Kurigakure will send ninjas over. If Kirigakure finds out, this is the trick, he hasn't dared to challenge Kirigakure while walking Kaido. I don't want the treasure, just go back and get the country of the sea ready. Akira Yagyu looked at Heian Fujiro's back, and called out again, but this time Heian Fujiro didn't reply, and I don't know if he heard it. Don't let such guys come to disturb me in the future. Shaking his head, after the episode of Fujiro Heian, the soreness on Akira Yagyu's body has disappeared. He knows what Fujiro is afraid of. When he heard those people suspected that Crocodile was Sand Shinobi, he had already done it. Intent. Instead of letting the Wei Yoruichi clan keep looking for trouble for themselves, it is better to lead the disaster to the east, and let the country of water follow the country of wind with the country of fire for a while. Yes, Your Highness, but before that, there is another messenger. I need to tell you something. T-Pen responded with a weird face, and then continued. Is there an ambassador? Akira Yagyu frowned. This time, it is an envoy sent by the daimyo of the land of water. Advertisement. Nodding, T-Pen explained. Send one away and another. Akira Yagyu frowned. Knowing that today's training could not go on, he pulled up the kimono Singyi next to him and put it on his body. Your Highness, you have finally come out. The country of water sent an old man, and Akira Yagyu recognized the person who was the confidant of the kingdom of water, named Shiba C. Nodding his head, Akira Yagyu didn't speak. This guy is an old fox. He has followed the current daimyo for many years, and he is often involved in negotiating the interests of external countries. Cough cough, I have a daimyo handbook here. Now there is domestic turmoil, and the country of fire is eyeing our country. I ask Akira Yagyu, the lord of Carden Island, to get up immediately and lead all the ministers to the capital to meet the daimyo. If you dare not, be treated as treason. Seeing Akira Yagyu like this, Shiba Hai didn't say much, he coughed lightly, took out a scroll directly from his arms, and said aloud according to it. What? Just got a little bit of wind and you're so soon to collect your own soldiers. Akira Yagyu sneered inwardly and looked at each other meaningfully. I'm just a messenger. I don't understand the meaning of the daimyo. It's up to His Highness to communicate with the daimyo in person. After all, when the father and son are together, the daimyo still misses His Highness very much. Shiba Hai listened to Akira Yagyu's words, his face tightened, but he pretended not to hear anything, and said with a light smile. His Royal Highness, do you want to kill this old man? If you let him go back, I'm afraid he will talk nonsense. Crocodile came out from the side, and at the same time, his right hand fumbled for the poison needle on his left. What are you up to? Hearing Crocodile's words, the old man's expression suddenly changed, and then he became gloomy. At the same time, more than a dozen guards brought by the old man all took on fighting stances, and all of them, without exception, were intermediate-level ninjas from Kirigakure. A bunch of bastards. Advertisement. Crocodile looked at the many ninjas who were waiting, couldn't help sneering, and squatted down. Huh, everyone beware. A group of people was shocked. Although they didn't understand what Crocodile was doing, they didn't dare to relax. They all looked at Crocodile cautiously. They all knew the news. The people here killed many ninjas from the Wei Yoruichi clan. They came here. Protecting this famous confidant was designated as an A-level task. Moisture deprivation. What? The information said, the guy from the land of wind. Those who endured the guards and Shiba Hai opened their mouths wide and their faces became terrifying. With a low voice from Crocodile, the ground on which several people were standing cracked and lifted up, and then quickly turned into yellow sand. Not good. Several people were just attracted by the cracked land. When they reacted, the apprentices under their feet had already turned into yellow sand. Those yellow sand were like tentacles, grabbing the ankles of all the ninjas. Damn, everyone release ninjutsu. Among the dozen or so ninjas, one of the captains who took the lead shouted and threw out the shuriken that had already been prepared, and at the same time quickly started to pinch. Those shuriken were all aimed at Crocodile, bringing out more than a dozen white air currents, which looked extremely cool. However, I saw a sand wall rolled up directly in front of Crocodile, saying that those shurikens were easily taken down. Arc Moon Sand Dunes. With the sound of Crocodile behind the sand wall suddenly pushed out a huge palm, and then the palm turned into countless sand blades, and in the blink of an eye, it came to the ninjas who were still pinching their handprints. No. Along with a series of screams, after the sand blade passed, more than a dozen Chunin guards in Shiba Sea turned into mummified corpses. Asterisk. Chapter 26 Instigating the Confidant. You really colluded with Sand Shinobi of the Land of Winds. Seeing that the ninja escort he brought with him was completely destroyed in just a few breaths, and the death was tragic, Shiba Kai shivered in fright, and pointed at Akira Yagyu with clenched teeth. At this moment, Crocodile turned into mad sand and rushed in front of Shiba Sea. Scare. Seeing Crocodile suddenly appearing in front of him, Shiba Kai was taken aback and quickly took 2 steps back. Shish. The golden hook on Crocodile's left arm was opened, and there was a bottle of transparent liquid inside. After taking it out, he looked at Shiba Sea. What's this? Shiba Hai looked at the transparent liquid, instinctively felt resistance, and wanted to push it away, but what was under his feet seemed to be conscious. Instead he grabbed his legs and sent him to Crocodile. In front of Crocodile, who was more than 2 meters tall, Shiba Sea trembled like a child. Don't be nervous, it's just a chronic poison. Crocodile said lightly, directly pressing the stinger to his throat, sending the venom into his mouth. Facing the tall crocodile, Shiba C had no room for resistance. Cough, caw. As soon as the venom entered his throat, the hairs on Kianyahai's whole body exploded immediately. He only felt that his body was out of control, and pain seemed to be coming from the skin and blood vessels of all parts of the body, like hundreds of millions of ants biting frantically. Every inch of your body is the same. In an instant, the pain made Shiba Hai's body turn red, and his clothes were completely soaked. Advertisement. Cough, cluck, cough cough, save me, save me. Shiba Hai collapsed to the ground and looked at Crocodile with a hint of hope in his fearful eyes. Crocodile ignored Shibakai's pleas. About a minute later, when Shiba Hai almost fainted, the pain suddenly disappeared. Am I dead? Kianyahai felt the pain in his body, and suddenly disappeared, slowly opened his eyes, and muttered in his mouth. Deep regret flashed in the depths of his pupils, which was the worry of death. You are not dead yet. Just let you experience the pain and fear of death. This thing will be lurking in your body for about a year. If there is no antidote, it will eventually flow to your brain nerves, until it will be 1,000 times more painful than it is now. Crocodile waved his hand, as if he had done something trivial, but when it fell into Shibakai's ears, he almost fainted again. Are you the devil? Looking at Crocodile, Shiba C asked with a blank expression. As long as you are willing to follow His Royal Highness, I can give you the antidote before the poison is released, but you'd better not try to treat yourself. Every time you try, you will feel more intense pain than this time. Crocodile bit the cigarette, did not deny it, and grinned like a devil in Shiba Hai's eyes. Damn it, Your Highness. Shiba Hai's body trembled when he heard it. He couldn't even imagine the pain he suffered just now, and then he turned his attention to Akira Yagyu, and he placed all his hopes on Akira Yagyu. We won't break our promise. You can go. I think you should know how to reply to your name when you go back. Akira Yagyu's face was expressionless. In this case, he would not carry forward the traditional virtue of caring for the elderly, let alone this as a cunning old fox. As Akira Yagyu's voice fell, the quicksand that bound the Shiba C quickly dispersed. Advertisement. Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, Shiba Kai sighed, turned and left at this moment as if it were late. The back was a little lonely, and the passageway in front of the Lord's mansion had been soaked. Mr. Crocodile, is that poison really that magical? Beside him, Kitano Ichiro waited until Shiba C left, and immediately asked in surprise. Among the chronic poisons he knew, only the ones that lasted for 2 months at most, either the poison developed, or it would slowly dissipate, and the medicine would continue to be fed for a long time, but the transparent liquid of Crocodile lasted for a year. Fake. I lied to this old man. This potion can only last for 1 month, and it won't let people die. Within this month, this guy will definitely find a way to cure. The poison will expand when stimulated, and it will be rejected by the body. I will feel the pain several times before again. After one time, this guy should not dare to try treatment. Crocodile's scheming is as terrifying as it looks on the surface. Hearing Kitano Ichiro's incomparable fear in his heart, he even has some sympathy for him who will become an enemy of Crocodile in the future. However, Shiba Hai is the confidant of the great name of the Land of Water. Will he risk his life to report what happened today? After a pause, Kitano Ichiro continued to ask. This old guy is a confidant of the big name, but he is not a loyal minister of the water country. Now the water country's big name is short, and he still has more time. He knows how to choose. Akira Yagyu sorted out all the information about Shiba C that he knew, and finally came to such a conclusion. After all, the romance of the Three Kingdoms when I was in school was not for nothing. Hearing Akira Yagyu's words, everyone present was stunned and looked at Akira Yagyu in amazement. Crocodile and Vergo were fine. After trying to figure out the master's mentality and everything being planned out, Kitano Ichiro couldn't help but feel even more excited. After Shiba Hai returned to the capital of the country of water, he immediately found the medical ninja sent to the country of water by Kirigakure and began to treat him. As Crocodile said, the toxin swelled instantly after being stimulated, and the intense pain made Shiba Hai face death. Had to give up. After finally resting for a day, he returned to the Land of Water. Chapter 27 Defeat Mist Shinobi's powerful enemy mission. You mean you were attacked by Sand Shinobi from the Land of Winds directly on your way to Carden Island? Looking at Cheni Hai who was kneeling in front of him, the famous name of the Land of Water asked in a deep voice. He had no doubts at all about what his confidant had told him. Yes, the Land of Wind suddenly sent Sand Shinobi. No matter what the purpose is, it is no longer our people's ability to compete. It is very likely that His Royal Highness the Lord of Carden Island is under the coercion of the Land of Wind. We should ask Kirigakure for help. Shiba Hai also had a heavy expression on his face, just as Crocodile and Akira Yagyu had expected. He didn't say a word about what happened to Shiba Hai himself on Carden Island. After facing the pain of life and death twice, he no longer dared to do anything else. Actions. Let's do it like this. I'm running out of days. I didn't expect the country of wind to directly skip the country of fire to attack us. Maybe the country of fire has formed an alliance with the country of wind. This is not good news. Write me a letter. I'm going to tell several other countries about this. The voice of the name of the Land of Water was a little weak, and his breath was free, as if he was hanging with his last breath. Yes, I'm going to prepare now. The light in Chibahai's eyes flashed, and finally nodded, bowed and retreated. Kurigakure. Sand Shinobi, who killed more than a dozen water ninja guards with a wave, is at least elite Jonin. Third Mizukage closed his eyes and murmured after listening to the report from the Kurigakure ninja. Master Mizukage, the daimyo of the land of water, said that only ninjas can deal with ninjas. He hopes that we can take action to rescue the crisis in Carden Island, and at the same time, they will put pressure on the land of wind. The ninja who was in charge of chanting the information from the land of water tensed when he heard it. Sand Shinobi of the elite Jonin level and a samurai who could defeat Jonin appeared together in the hinterland of the land of water. No matter whether it was for the land of water or Kurigakure, it's not a good thing to say. After a pause, the ninja continued. Indeed, elite Jonin level masters are no longer something that the land of water can handle. Advertisement. Nodding, he was not surprised by Third Mizukage's request for daimyo of the land of water. Have Shizang and Lei Ya come back? After a pause, Third Mizukage asked suddenly. Mizukage-sama, are you planning to let them go? Hearing that Third Mizukage suddenly read the names of the two of them, he was shocked and asked uncertainly. Third Mizukage said that there are 7 people in Shizang and they are called the Ninja Sword 7, which represents the top combat power of Kurigakure. The 7 people are all elite Jonin level. If they work together, they can even compete with Mizukage-sama. Shing, you don't have to wonder, Sand Shinobi appeared in the land of water, and there must be Sunogakure's instructions behind it. We don't have much contact with the land of wind, and our understanding of Sunogakure is even more sparse. The power of Kurigakure was shown to shock them. Third Mizukage talked a lot in one breath, and kept his eyes closed the whole time. If he wasn't very familiar with Mizukage, Shing would even think that the adult was talking in his sleep. Yes, Mr. Mizukage, I know, the 7 ninja swordsmen just finished their mission and are now at the training ground. Ao nodded, understood Third Mizukage's thoughts, and reported the current state of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Let them leave as soon as possible. If there is no response for too long, it will be more disadvantageous to us. Third Mizukage gave an order, then stopped talking, and Ao quickly stepped back to start making arrangements. At the same time, the letter from the daimyo of the land of water has also been passed to the land of thunder and the land of earth. The 3 countries jointly issued a letter to question the land of wind. What's going on? How come there is Sand Shinobi of elite Jonin level in the land of water? What the hell are those Sunogakure guys doing? Advertisement. At this moment, in the Kingdom of Wind, the name of the Kingdom of Wind received joint questions from several other countries. Among the 5 major countries, the country of fire is the strongest and the country with the most abundant resources, while the other countries are all unanimously targeting the country of fire and jointly suppress the growth of the country of fire, so as to achieve a balance among countries in the world. Now, if this balance is disrupted by the appearance of Sand Shinobi in the land of water, the land of wind will definitely suffer first. We have sent Sunogakure a message, but so far there is no reply. As soon as the voice of the famous name of the Kingdom of Wind fell, someone immediately reported it. No reply. The guys from Sunogakure are really going too far. The guy from 3rd generation is missing, and the people below are in a mess. Hearing the report of the people below, the big name of the Kingdom of Wind knitted his brows together. Nowadays, many people in Sunogakure hope to be able to take the seat of 4th Kazekage, but it has not been determined yet. Maybe you need your intervention to determine the position of Sunogakure as soon as possible. The following minister continued to say that when the leader of the ninja village cannot be determined, the daimyo of a country can directly determine a person from the qualified ninjas to directly serve as the leader of the ninja village, that is, Shadow. This is the prerogative of the daimyo of the country, for the current situation of Iwagakure. Akira Yagayu doesn't know yet. At this moment, because of the matter of his Carden Island, various countries are surging, and even the relationship between several major countries is beginning to become more delicate. These days, Akira Yagayu is still training frantically under the supervision of Vergo, and his Dao strength is also growing terribly, but it is still far from the 100 points of Dao strength required to complete the task. Ding. Trigger the mission. Defeat Mist Shinobi's strong enemy. Mission completion reward. Murloc Bloodline, Enhanced Physique, have the ability to survive in water, 50% bonus to water combat effectiveness, random draw 1. Asterisk. Chapter 28 Kurigakure Strikes. Mist Shinobi's strong enemy. It seems that Kurigakure can't sit still anymore. Akira Yagayu saw the quest prompt, muttered, and looked outside. The land of water was originally a rainy country. Although it was noon at this moment, the sky was not very bright. There were still some dark clouds over Hygeia City, and it was gradually drizzling. At the same time, this is the Lord's mansion of Carden Island. Everyone, be careful, the ninjas of the Wei Yoruichi clan have suffered losses here. I heard that the Lord here is just a kid, but the level of this task is set as S. As soon as they reached the end of the road opposite the Lord's mansion on Carden Island, Loquat Juzo stopped and reiterated what Third Mizukage had told them before departure. Okay, just bury the other party, why worry so much, the 7 of us are together, even Mizukage-sama should take it seriously. On the side, the Black Holea said with a grin, he didn't seem to care much about this mission, even if it was an S-level mission. And the Lord here seems to be a descendant of the daimyo. I wonder if the daimyo will participate in the funeral if it is accidentally buried. The Black Hole paused and continued, this guy seems to have a soft spot for mourning people. You do this every time. You can kill it obviously, but you must bury people alive. Loquat Shazang swept Lei Ya, and then said lightly. He, isn't that bad. The Black Hole smiled again, holding 2-3 knives, chakra released, and the lightning flowed on it. The rest of the people were not talking, but he simultaneously urged the chakra in his body to switch quickly. Gradually, a white morning mist suddenly appeared around the Lord's mansion of Carden Island. Ha ha ha, without any precautions, it's too easy. Advertisement. Lei Ya came to the front of the Lord's mansion, looked at the empty gate, and sneered. Come on, let me clean up here first, and clean up the ants inside first. With the rotation of Lei Ya's chakra, the thunder quickly surged, and the roaring thunder continued to be heard in the white fog. White light flashed from time to time, but the exact location could not be determined. Seeing Lei Ya's madman's actions, the others of the 7 ninja swordsmen quickly distanced themselves from him. If there is no strong enemy, they really don't want to carry out the mission with this guy. Lightning-style thunder dragon roll. Thunder instantly fell from the sky and landed on Lei Ya. The thunder that had flowed on Lei Ya instantly merged with it, turning into a giant thunder dragon with a diameter of 2 meters. On the dragon's head, its eyes glowed with red light. The rolling thunder sounded like the whistling of the thunder dragon. The thunder dragon rushed up into the air with an aura of destruction, and then swooped down toward the Lord's mansion, turning into a giant thunder pillar. Boom! A series of explosions and roars resounded through Hygeia City, immediately causing countless residents of Hygeia City. The voice came from the direction of the Lord's mansion. What happened? The residents of Hygeia City outside the gate all looked in the direction of the Lord's mansion subconsciously, and found that the area of the Lord's mansion is now shrouded in white fog. Dark clouds are covered, and a long thunder column is like a long rope connecting the dark clouds with the Lord's mansion. Up. Because there have been people looking for trouble near the Lord's mansion, they have never dared to approach the Lord's mansion, and no one really knows what happened there during this period of time. What happened? Listening to the roaring thunder, but the Lord's mansion shrouded in the white mist did nothing at all, and Lei Ya was suddenly a little strange. It's the guy mentioned in the information, who released an escape technique similar to controlling the sand. It seems that he is still a top-level executive of Sunagaku. Among the 7 people, Wulijinba with a long beard raised his head, suddenly his voice sank, and said solemnly. In the land of winds, the ninjas who can control the sand started from second Cage, and now they are all high levels of Sunagaku. Obviously, this is also the case. Advertisement. According to the information, the ninja hiding in this island of Carden is undoubtedly the strongest of Sunagaku. Tempest kick. Suddenly, just when everyone was surprised, a voice came from the fog beside them, and then, 2 white arc-shaped air blades with Po Kongsheng cut out from the depths of the white fog. The air blade carries a terrifying impact, as if it could be torn apart. Be careful. Looking at the air blade, everyone's hair exploded and quickly dispersed. The 2 wind ninjas crossed over where everyone stood just now, cut into the ground, and drew 2 ravines 1 meter wide and 100 meters long. Looking at the damage caused by the 2 chi blades, the 7 ninja swordsmen were all shocked. If they hadn't escaped just now, they would have been cut in half. Glancing at the ravine on the ground again with serious eyes, the 7 members of Ninja Sword all looked at each other, then nodded, and no one made a sound. It is very likely that the person who just issued the chi blade was the samurai master in the information, but he didn't expect that he was already strong enough to release the chi blade. Only a top-level physique master can sit down for such a person. The 7 people of Ninja Sword kept all their voices to a minimum, as if they were all immersed in the white mist, and in each direction, they were quickly searching for Vergo's figure. Tempest kick. Vergo's indifferent voice sounded again, and again 2 chi blades came out from the white mist. The chi blades seemed to have eyes, and they rushed towards Loquat Shazang and Li Hao Chuan Wan respectively. What? Seeing the 2 air blades slashing straight towards him, the 2 exclaimed again, and quickly avoided it, and the sound quickly caught the attention of others in the white fog. What happened over there? The other talent just asked a question, and suddenly several chi blades rushed out of the white mist, cutting towards each person separately. Chapter 29 Sandstorm Desert Tornado. Damn it, he can see us. In this case, no matter how stupid the 7 ninja swordsmen are, they know that the other party has a way to detect their position, but now they have been suppressed by the mist shinobi technique. Damn, hurry up and disperse this damn white fog. Seeing that the chi blade was really looking for them, it kept flying out of the white mist, and they still hadn't found each other's figure, which made Loquat Shazang's teeth itch, and immediately shouted to inform the surrounding people. Companion. Of course, the others also realized this, and immediately dissipated chakra, but the white mist dissipated very slowly. Damn it, damn it. Looking at the white weapons around him, Loquat Shazang's face was ashen, and the cross scar on his face was even more hideous. It's good, I didn't want to come out in the rain, but I didn't expect you to trap yourself in the white mist. Desert Sunflower. Crocodile's voice sounded in the white fog on the other side, without the slightest concealment, and then, the land quickly became dry, and even began to crack at a speed visible to the naked eye, quickly turning into yellow sand. You exposed. Loquat Shazang sneered, picked up the big knife and quickly shot in the direction of the sound. The others didn't hesitate, Although they didn't know if it was the samurai who released the chi blade, but it was certain that the voice was not from their comrades. Since it is not one of his own, it must be the enemy, and all 7 of the ninja swords rushed towards Crocodile. The further forward, the group of 7 ninja swords found that the air became drier. As they moved forward, the ground became softer and softer. It had completely turned into flowing sand, and every step would fall into it, which made them a little uneasy, but while still attaching chakra to his feet, he quickly rushed forward. Of course, because the air became dry, the white water mist also became thinner, which made the 7 ninja swordsmen a little uneasy, but at the same time they were a little happy. However, as the white fog became thinner, Loquat Shazang also felt that something was wrong, because in the light white fog, there were still some sand particles, hitting his face with some raw pain. Advertisement. Stop. Prepare for ninjutsu. Suddenly, Loquat Shazang let out a low voice, and everyone stopped. Without any hesitation, they began to quickly pinch their handprints. Even Lei Ya didn't look like he was crazy before. Holding Lei Dao Ya followed everyone to quickly prepare for ninjutsu. While everyone was preparing for ninjutsu, a strong wind suddenly blew in the face, blowing away all the fog, and 100 meters in front of the people, there was a plaid shirt more than 1 or 2 meters high, and a man with a black robe on his shoulders was holding it in his mouth. The cigarettes stood there. What surprised several people was that the other party didn't need to make a seal at all. When he lifted his palm, a small whirlwind of yellow sand was spinning and condensing in the man's hand. Sandstorm. Desert tornado. Crocodile looked at a few people, grinned, and threw the small whirlwind gathered in his hands. The whirlwind just hit the ground, and it touched the yellow sand on the ground. At this moment, the 7 people of ninja swords were also ready for ninjutsu, and the water vapor quickly gathered in front of several people. Water style water dragon bomb technique. Water style big waterfall technique. Water style water iron cannon technique. Water style explosive water rush. Lightning style thunder dragon roll. Water style water dragon annexation. Water style water breaking impact technique. Facing Crocodile's Huang Sharon scroll, the water styles of the 7 ninja swordsmen were also released, and all kinds of water dragons, water bombs and thunder dragons, all roared towards the Huang Sharon cyclone. Boom. Crocodile's desert tornado collided with 7 ninjutsu, making an explosion sound, and various wind ninjas, thunder snakes, and water arrows shot around, and the marine base building was affected, leaving countless large and small pits. Advertisement. Since I've seen people, it's time for my beheading sword to suck some blood to repair it. Loquat Tenzo moved in tandem, and he quickly came to Crocodile with the relentless might of the explosion after the ninjutsu collided with the tornado. The large knife, which is more than 1 meter long and more than 30 centimeters wide, leaves only afterimages in the hands of Loquat Shazang. Loquat Shazang holds the handle of the knife with one hand and pushes the back of the knife with the other hand, with a humming sound. Cut directly towards Crocodile. In the face of such a move, Crocodile threw Dahao, and his left arm hit the big sword with the Sasori poison needle. Kang. There was a sharp sound, and the eardrum of the person scratching hurt, but neither of them were moved. Samahata flying chain slash. Suddenly, a voice came from behind Crocodile. The watermelon mountain puffer fish appeared behind Loquat Shazang with Samahata. The handle of Samahata suddenly stretched more than 10 meters and bent like a chain. At that time, he directly bypassed the Loquat Shazang. Kindness. Crocodile's eyes were stunned, a little surprised. With the pressure of Loquat Shizo, it was impossible for him to dodge, and he saw Samahata slammed into his waist. He, die. Seeing that Crocodile was about to be pierced by Samahata, Loquat Shazang and Ziguashan pufferfish both showed cruel smiles. Although this time there were twists and turns, at least half of the mission was about to be completed. The guy who released the air blade can finish the task by killing it. A few of them united, and even Lord Mizukage could compete. They didn't think that a samurai could reach the strength of Lord Mizukage. Whoa. Without any suspense, Samahata slammed into Crocodile's ribs. Sand, is it a stand-in? Or illusion? After Samahata slammed into Crocodile, instead of the blood splashing as they expected, it brought out a piece of sand, which made Loquat Juzo, who was confronting Crocodile, see clearly. Asterisk. Chapter 30 Sasori of the Desert, the 7 people who are suspicious of each other. Inside the marine base building, Akira Yagyu is looking down at the base office on the 5th floor with Ichiro Kitano and T-Pen. At this moment, Bai Wu has already been able to see the accurate battle situation below because of Crocodile's extraction of moisture from the earth and the air. Your Highness. Seeing that Crocodile was hit, Kitano Ichiro screamed in worry. No problem, that Crocodile guy is a Logia fruit, can be elementalized, and ordinary attacks can't hurt him at all. Beside him, T-Pen explained to Akira Yagyu that Ichiro Kitano has been initially recognized by several people in the recent observation of getting along with each other. Hearing T-Pen's words, Kitano Ichiro knew that the strong men under His Highness still had many secrets that he didn't know, so he didn't rush to ask, but continued to observe the battle below. The people below were at least Jonin. He was still very helpful. It was hit. Crocodile looked down at the scattered sand on his body and said strangely. As soon as the voice fell, other water ninja attacks followed one after another. Various knives and ninja tools fell on Crocodile, including several crocodiles' heads and hearts, but there was still no bloodline, only sand in the air. Diffuse. Oops, We got an illusion. Seeing Crocodile like this, the faces of the 7 ninja swordsmen changed wildly, and they abandoned Crocodile and quickly retreated, back to back, forming a circle, cautiously looking around. As for Crocodile, everyone just thinks that they are illusions, and they are fake existences. Are you ignoring me? Crocodile was stunned for a moment, but he didn't expect that he would be ignored by others, biting his cigarette, and suddenly looked surprised. The attack is coming. Everyone be careful, that samurai is the real one. Gui Deng Tianyu suddenly looked forward, and as soon as she finished speaking, several chi blades rushed out from the front. And after the air blade, Vergo's figure rushed out, with a calm expression, holding a black bamboo pole in his hand, smashing the momentum of Wonglong, Loquat Shazang poked. Advertisement. Ghost Bamboo Long Snake Strike. Vergo's indifferent voice sounded from everyone's ears, and the black bamboo pole carried terrifying pressure, as if it turned into a long black snake, showing its fangs and biting towards the Loquat Shazang. Damn. Vergo's aura was pressing down like a mountain, and Loquat Shazang's expression tightened. He vigorously raised the decapitation sword in his hand, pushed the decapitation sword with all his strength, and stood upright in front of him with the blade. Boom. The black bamboo pole slammed into the beheading sword and made a loud crashing sound. The terrifying force made Loquat Shazang almost let go of the beheading sword. On the blade's surface, there were slight cracks at the point of contact. Yes, damn it. Looking at the cracks on the surface of the blade, Loquat Shazang's face changed, his eyes flickered, and he finally gritted his teeth. I saw Loquat Shazang slam the palm of his hand on the surface of the knife before his own beheading knife was broken, and quickly escaped and bounced off. Wow. Loquat Shazang abandoned the sword and retreated, and the decapitation sword that lost its support was finally unable to withstand Vergo's powerful attack, and instantly shattered into countless pieces. After that, the trend of the black bamboo stick continued unabated, directly stabbing the black Holea, who was standing opposite Loquat Shazang. The black Holea, who didn't know what happened to the Loquat Juzo behind him, was directly rushed out from the heart by the black bamboo pole from behind. Black Holea's eyes were abrupt, and he looked at the black bamboo pole exposed outside his chest in disbelief, and then the brilliance in his eyes quickly dissipated, and his voice quickly dissipated. What? Seeing that the black Holea was actually killed by a sneak attack from behind, the hairs of the remaining 5 people burst immediately, screamed, and quickly dispersed again. Obviously, it was Loquat Shizo's retreat that caused the black Holea to be pierced from behind unpreparedly. At this moment, several people no longer believed in their companions, and no one dared to give their back to the other. Advertisement. Hey, you two, you don't give your back to your teammates, but you still turn your back to me, are you courting death? Seeing that several people were cautiously guarding against Vergo, Crocodile suddenly looked unhappy, and shouted loudly towards Li Hao Kushiwan and Tongsao Yebiran. At the same time, on the sand where everyone was standing, the sand began to flow rapidly, forming vortexes, constantly pulling everyone's bodies toward the center of the vortex. Crocodile's voice surprised the two of them, thinking that there was a master who might be sand shinobi secretly, and immediately jumped up from the sand. Watching the two jump up, Crocodile frowned and immediately inserted his hand into the sand. Sasori of the desert. Buzz. The sand on the ground suddenly trembled, and the sand under the two suddenly turned into a string of vines condensed from the sand, as if countless tentacles rushed towards the two of them. The two of them were in the air at the moment, and they had no ability to dodge at all. Seeing that the sand vines were about to grab them. Humph. I saw Li Hao Kushiwan snorted coldly and grabbed the shoulders of his companion Tongsao Yebiran. Kushimaru, what are you doing? The grass and wild bait people were startled and looked at each other immediately. Kuri Hun Kushimaru slammed the hand that was grabbing Tongsao Yebiran's shoulder, and at the same time, he used the force to bounce himself away. And this time, Tongsao Yebiran fell directly into those sand tentacles. No, the Tongsao wild bait exclaimed, and countless tentacles first grabbed the Tongsao wild bait's legs and pulled down. Then, more yellow sand came up and wrapped it into a struggling yellow cocoon in the blink of an eye. The tentacles of the yellow sand became more and more, and the struggle gradually stopped. The cocoon was pulled by the tentacles and sank into the sand vortex, and quickly disappeared. Asterisk. Chapter 31 Murloc Blood Gene. Kuri Kushiwan, what did you do? Gui Deng Tianyu looked at the sand in front of him gradually calming down, and immediately asked in shock. The grass and wild bait man was pulled into the sand vortex. Unless he can break free and escape, there is no possibility of being rescued. Of course, Kuri Kushiwan would not allow anyone to save him. If it was forced to kill the Black Holea because of the Loquat Juzo before, then Kuri Kushiwan was really killing his comrade, or in other words, when the choice was just made, Kurigakure had already betrayed Kurigakure. All of a sudden, the rest of the 7 ninja swords members fell to the bottom of their minds again. From the previous distrust, it has now become a precaution. After all, no one wants to die in the hands of their former companions. Now no one dares to do it lightly, and no one knows who is to blame for this accident. Perhaps it is precisely because of their previous actions and choices that indirectly led to today's mutual suspicion and suspicion. Don't mention what happened today, finish the task first, and answer the village. If this goes on like this, none of us want to leave alive. Wu Li Jinba watched the atmosphere in front of him become more and more strange, lost 2 companions one after another, and the remaining people were suspicious of each other, which made them extremely passive, and it was definitely not a good thing for their own side, and immediately said aloud. After the others heard it, they hesitated for a while, and after glanced at each other cautiously again, they nodded lightly and turned towards Vergo and Crocodile unanimously. While looking at Vergo and Crocodile, he inadvertently glanced at his closest companion. Is this the ninja of Kirigakure? It doesn't seem to be very good. If we don't do it, you can kill your two companions to apologize and leave. After pulling a person into the sea of sand, Crocodile and Vergo did not rush to do it, but watched the reactions of several people with great interest. After they confirmed the current situation, they said with disdain. Crocodile can be said to have calculated people's hearts into ultimate, one move to kill people's hearts, and a few words make the Kirigakure ninja's eyes change again. Advertisement. The 7 ninja swordsmen are all cold-blooded characters who kill people without blinking an eye. If necessary, if they are friends, they don't mind sacrificing them. In an instant, Wooly Jinba noticed several hostile eyes swept towards him. You, damn, missed shinobi technique. Looking at the hearts of the people who had finally gathered, because of Crocodile's words, it became isolated again. Wooly Jinba screamed, and directly pinched the handprints, and white fog appeared around again. This time, even Wooly Jinba had lost the confidence to continue fighting, and immediately performed the missed shinobi technique and quickly fled outside. Of course, everyone else has the same idea, especially the Loquat Tenzo. Now they don't even have any weapons, and they don't even have the slightest desire to fight. If the 7 of them were full of confidence before, they didn't even feel that they didn't. Necessary. It is really desperate now. He is the only guy who has contact with the guy who is holding the black bamboo. He has personally experienced what kind of explosive power that guy's body has. And the other guy who uses sand, they are still not sure about each other. Whether he was using a stand-in or an illusion, he didn't know how to fight. There were 7 blades in total, 2 of them died, one was without a weapon, and the other was because he framed his companions, and it was impossible to determine whether he was an enemy or a friend, which made the remaining 3 suspect each other. Everyone has lost the mind to fight again, and they have to beware of the black hands of their companions. The fighting power is not even half of the normal, so how can they fight? Now they can only save their lives and seek more happiness for themselves. Crocodile did not have observation Haki, looked at the white weapon in front of him, waved his hand directly, and retreated into the Lord's mansion, and Vergo did not pursue. After all, this is the Lord's mansion, and his main task is to protect His Highness Akira Yagyu, so he also followed Crocodile returns to the marine base building. Just as Crocodile returned to the base building, he found that Kitano Ichiro and T-Pen were looking at him strangely. Lord Crocodile, you just now are really amazing. Advertisement. Kitano Ichiro didn't expect the battle to be like this. He just killed 2 people and let the remaining 5 escape directly. Kitano Ichiro can be sure that after this mission, Kirigakure's 7 ninja swordsmen will be reduced by half. But Akira Yagyu doesn't care about that, he's looking at his mission completion right now. Ding. Congratulations to host for completing the mission. Defeat Mist Shinobi's powerful enemy. Task reward. Murloc Bloodline, Enhanced Physique, Ability to Survive in Water, 50% bonus to combat effectiveness in water, random draw 1. Ding. Get the blood of the Murlocs, do you want to fuse? Akira Yagyu's eyes flashed, and a test tube with bright red bloodline genes appeared in front of Akira Yagyu. Fusion. Akira Yagyu chose to confirm, the bloodline gene disappeared directly, and Akira Yagyu obviously felt that his ability to perceive his surroundings was greatly enhanced, and even his blood flow and cell vitality were enhanced several times. This feeling is only for himself every time growth after training. Ding. Merge the blood of the Murlocs, gain the ability to breathe underwater, increase the Dao power by 150, increase the speed in the water, and increase the combat power in the water by 50%. Ding. Congratulations to the host for breaking through 100 Dao power and completing the side quests. The reward will be a random draw. Chapter 32 Random Rewards, The Terrifying Conqueror's Haki. Kindness. At the moment when Akira Yagyu merged the Murloc genes, Kitano Ichiro suddenly felt a pressure on Akira Yagyu, and looked at Akira Yagyu's body, as if it was suddenly filled with a powerful force. What's the matter? I seem to feel that His Highness has become much stronger. Kitano Ichiro didn't shy away, looking at Akira Yagyu's figure and muttering to himself. After speaking, Kitano Ichiro looked at the others. Crocodile, Vergo, and T-Pen did not answer, and there was no strange difference in their eyes. Okay. Glancing at his mouth, Kitano Ichiro thought that several people would know and explain to him, but it seemed that he thought too much. Several people fell silent, waiting quietly for Akira Yagyu, no one disturbed. System, I want to conduct a random lottery. Akira Yagyu's eyes lit up when he heard another Dao force requesting the task to be completed together, and then said impatiently. The Tally quest rewards him with a random reward, plus the quest to defeat the strong Kirigakure. The 2 quests give him a total of 2 random rewards. As Akira Yagyu's voice fell, a glimmer of light flashed in front of him again, one was about to appear on the screen in front of him, and there was a number of draws *2 displayed in the lower right corner. At the same time, the names of the items on the screen kept flashing, and when the names of Ancient Weapon and Edward Newgate flashed, Akira Yagyu was breathing heavily. Advertisement. After that, A series of tasteless things appeared, such as the transportation of the water city, bullfish blue, Alabasta's camel's eyelashes, and even Akira Yagyu saw Aokiji's bicycle. Seeing this, the corners of Akira Yagyu's mouth twitched. He didn't want to slap the vehicles behind him. Ding! Congrats to the host for drawing a random reward. Elementary Conqueror's Haki Pack. As the name on the screen in front of Akira Yagyu stopped, the system's mechanical prompt sounded immediately. Conqueror's Haki. Hearing that it wasn't such a tasteless means of transportation, Akira Yagyu was immediately relieved, and then he was stunned again, seeing a red package-like gift box appearing in his inventory. Elementary Conqueror's Haki Gift Pack. After use, the user can directly own the Elementary Armament Haki, Elementary Observation Haki, and Elementary Conqueror's Haki. Use it now. The corners of Akira Yagyu's mouth suddenly rose, almost grinning to the base of his ears, and without any hesitation, he clicked to use it. Conqueror's Haki. Every kind of cultivation to ultimate is an existence that can dominate one side of the pirates, not to mention that there are 3 kinds of them together. Although they are only elementary, Akira Yagyu is also very satisfied, and he has to wait until he slowly cultivates and awakens. That may be when, especially Conqueror's Haki, it is not something that can be obtained through practice. Buzz. The moment the Conqueror's Haki gift bag was opened, Akira Yagyu's body immediately heard a humming sound, and the air around Akira Yagyu trembled, and Akira Yagyu subconsciously closed his eyes and began to feel the 3 kinds of Haki in his body. As Akira Yagyu closed his eyes, Akira Yagyu felt that his perception seemed to have been enhanced several times. He didn't know which sense it came from. In his mind, the marine base building, extending to the Lord's mansion, everything was concretized by him. In his mind, every servant, every marine, and even, he can perceive the movement in the training ground in the distance. Every marine who is training wants to attack in the next second. Seeing this, Akira Yagyu could not help clenching his fists, while armament Haki quickly wrapped around his body. Immediately afterwards, Akira Yagyu's arms instantly turned shiny black, and Kitano Ichiro's face was shocked. This was something similar to the black layer on Vergo's body. He had heard it from Vergo's mouth. Armament Haki. Advertisement. Suddenly Yagyu's eyes suddenly opened, and a divine light burst out in his eyes, and a terrifying coercion was released from Akira Yagyu. Ichiro Kitano, who was surprised by Akira Yagyu's awakening of armament Haki, suddenly trembled and looked at Akira Yagyu in horror. The terrifying pressure was like the sky was about to collapse, and it pressed heavily on Kitano Ichiro. Ichiro Kitano had never seen such a battle before. The terrifying momentum made Kitano Ichiro feel like he was in hell. It was the first time he felt this. This kind of coercion, the body seems to be out of control and unable to move. In the face of such a terrifying pressure, like a ripple, it was released from the marine base building, within a radius of 1 kilometer, whether it was the servants of the Lord's mansion, the marine who was patrolling, or the guards of Hygeia city itself, as well as the public vendors on the fringe market. At this moment, he rolled his eyes and was stunned by the terrifying pressure emanating from Akira Yagyu's body. Den. With a bang, Kitano Ichiro couldn't bear it anymore, and fell to one knee directly on the ground. His body kept shaking, his forehead was already sweating like rain, and his body seemed to have just finished his training. His clothes were soaked with sweat. Pieces of wet marks. At this moment, his spirit is also a little trance, and his admiration for Akira Yagyu is even stronger. If it weren't for this belief, even he would have fainted. The sound of Kitano Ichiro's knee hitting the ground also made Akira Yagyu react. He had just owned the Conqueror's Haki and was not yet skilled. He was too excited to release his Conqueror's Haki. Akira Yagyu also understood what was happening around him, and quickly calmed himself down from the excitement, and Conqueror's Haki gradually receded. PFF'd. Conqueror's Haki retreated, and Kitano Ichiro suddenly felt that the pressure on his body suddenly disappeared, and his body suddenly relaxed, causing him to lie down directly. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. Kitano Ichiro was lying on the floor, breathing the surrounding air greedily. Everything just now seemed like an illusion. Is this the horror of Conqueror's Haki? Akira Yagyu opened his eyes and saw that his dark arms were clenched into fists at the moment. He could feel that he could punch directly with a normal blade. Chapter 33 Pacifists. There is a second draw. I don't know what to draw this time. Akira Yagyu watched for a while, carefully removed armament Haki, then raised his head again and said to himself. System, I'm going to start the second lottery draw. Ding. Start preparing for a random draw. It's still the same panel as before, with item names flashing constantly, but this time the number of lottery draws has become 1. Will host start the lottery? The system's voice asked mechanically. Start. Akira Yagyu nodded, and the number of random draws 1 became *O again. I saw that the name on the screen in Akira Yagyu's eyes flashed faster, then gradually slowed down, and finally stopped. Ding. Congrats to the host who randomly draws the reward, Pacifist 1. Pacifist. With a precise locking system, it can launch laser cannons from both hands and mouth to attack the enemy at medium and long distances. With a prompt from the system, Akira Yagyu has an additional villain in the inventory. If you look closely, it is the super weapon, Pacifist that Vegapunk has researched. It's actually this thing. Looking at the Pacifist in the inventory, Akira Yagyu jumped in his heart, but instead of releasing it from the inventory immediately, he pushed it out of the system. Huh, are you alright? Because of the reason behind him, Akira Yagyu withdrew from the communication with the system, turned around and saw Kitano Ichiro lying on the ground. Akira Yagyu immediately asked. Ah, Your Highness, I'm fine. Advertisement. Seeing Akira Yagyu come back to his senses, Kitano Ichiro hurriedly got up from the ground, glanced at the clean ground he had rubbed against him, and immediately smiled awkwardly. What just happened? Akira Yagyu was vaguely aware of the unintentional release of Conqueror's Haki, but was still curious about the impact. Hearing Akira Yagyu's questioning, Vergo closed his eyes and released Observation Haki, then recovered. Just now, Your Highness, you released Conqueror's Haki, and it hit the lifeforms within 1 kilometer of the opponent. All the lifeforms within 1 kilometer are currently in a coma. Vergo quickly reported the situation detected by his Observation Haki. 1 kilometer. Before Akira Yagyu could speak, Kitano Ichiro was taken aback. Originally, he only thought that he felt the terrifying pressure, but he did not expect that the terrifying pressure actually enveloped a range of 1 kilometer. That's it. Hearing Vergo's report, Akira Yagyu glanced at the Marines, who had begun to wake up, and was also a little embarrassed. His Royal Highness, this is the sword left by the Kurigakure ninja who came to attack just now. It is the weapon of the 7 Kurigakure ninja swords. It is said that it can rely on blood to repair itself. At this time, Kitano Ichiro suddenly took out the beheading sword that was left by Loquat Juzo from below. You use it. Akira Yagyu nodded and said softly. Ah, give it to me, but I already have the Kuaisho fruit, and this knife is no longer needed. Kitano Ichiro was taken aback. He didn't expect the ninja tools inherited from Kurigakure to be given to him by Akira Yagyu, but he said it immediately. Well, then throw it away. Akira Yagyu thought for a while, then continued to speak casually. Advertisement. Throw it away. This is Kurigakure's ninja tool. Kitano Ichiro was stunned again and said quickly. No one is using it anymore, so throw it away, it will take up space if you keep it. Akira Yagyu waved his hand. He remembered that Kurigakure's ghost lamp family should be able to use summoning directly, and return all the weapons of the 7 ninja swords to summoning. At present, except for Kitano Ichiro, there is no one who can use chakra. If you can't keep it, you might as well just throw it away. Okay, fine. He nodded, although he didn't know what His Highness was thinking, but since His Highness said that he would throw it away, then he would throw it away. After all, he couldn't use this knife, and in the entire Hygeia city, he couldn't find a second place. A person who can use chakra. No one would have imagined that the treasured sword of the Kurigakure heritage would end up being thrown away without being used. 5 of the 7 sentient beings of Ninja Sword had just left Hygeia city, and immediately returned the results to the village. Loquat Shizang and Li Sanchuanwan also immediately separated from the others. After all, what they did today, unless they could, the remaining 3 people will be killed, otherwise they will definitely not be able to hide it. Now that Loquat Shizang's weapons have also been left behind, he and Li Sanchuanmaru are naturally impossible to be the opponents of the remaining 3. Simply the remaining 3 people are still somewhat suspicious of each other, otherwise the 2 of them will even be taken directly back to the village by the 3 of them. What should we do? The remaining 3 looked at each other, and the atmosphere was a bit dull. The 7 ninja swordsmen lost 4 because of this battle, which was a big blow to even Kurigakure. The news has been put back, and we will go back as soon as possible. This is a place where we can stay for a long time. It is estimated that we may need to shoot more masters in the village, and even Lord Mizukage himself shot. Ghost Lantern Tianyu also put away the double knives at this moment. Shen Sheng said, the Ghost Lamp family is the family of the first few Kurigakure. The next time he comes here, he will definitely be without him. He must report back all the details he knows about here, as soon as possible. Let the village think of a solution. The guy who uses the sand, which absorbs moisture, and the guy with a black bamboo pole who can see through their mist shinobi technique, is clearly a conspiracy against the land of water, and even against Kurigakure. It can only be this way. Seeing Gui Deng Tianyu put away the weapons, the other 2 also calmed down. Looking back at this moment, they are full of regrets. They did not expect that they were almost killed by the enemy's words. They could only pray in their hearts for Gui Deng Tianyu. The news that the 3 of them almost killed each other was not reported back, otherwise it would not be better for any of them. Asterisk. Chapter 34 Marine Mall and Special Buildings. The sun was shining brightly above Hygeia City after several battles. The residents of Hygeia City are also busy moving. The last time Akira Yagyu released Conqueror's Haki, the people who were within 1 kilometer of the Lord's mansion were knocked unconscious. Although no one knew that Akira Yagyu did it, anyone can guess. The incident of a large-scale coma before is absolutely inseparable from the people in the Lord's mansion. After all, this is only the case within the Lord's mansion. Recently, there has been a lot of movement in the Lord's mansion, and no one rushed to inquire, so I had to find a way to stay as far away from the Lord's mansion as possible. After knowing the decision of the people of Hygeia City, Akira Yagyu was so happy that he could train Haki in the Lord's mansion without worrying about the comfort of the people. Simply dismiss the ordinary servants in the mansion, and under the supervision of Vergo, train in an orderly manner again. And Kitano Ichiro seems to have been hit, and often fights with Crocodile. You must know that Crocodile is not a good stubborn. Every time he doesn't stay behind, Kitano Ichiro is also beaten to death and carried back. Of course, Crocodile and Vergo's suggestion was for him to train with Akira Yagyu's opponent, but this guy was unwilling to live or die. His Royal Highness, the letter sent by the Flying Foot Ninja just now is from the capital of the country of water. T-Pen glanced at Ichiro Kitano, who was beaten to the ground again, and couldn't help but glanced at his mouth, and just saw Akira Yagyu also finished training, he said immediately. Flying Foot Ninjas are a unique kind of postman in the Hokage world. Each postman is called by a number. It is a strange group who will try their best to deliver the letter safely, even in the face of life and death. In addition, Your Highness, the Kingdom of the Sea has been moving frequently recently and has cut off all contact with Carden Island. The merchants and warriors of the Kingdom of the Sea have also all evacuated from Carden Island. After a pause, T-Pen also reported what happened recently on Carden Island. The country of the sea. Akira Yagyu nodded while wiping off his hands that had become soiled from training. When Fujiro Kawajan, the son of the daimyo of the Kingdom of the Sea, left, he expected it to be like this, but he didn't know that now people, do you know that, the people of Kirigakure have been rout. Shiba sees. Akira Yagyu took the letter and saw that the name of the person who signed the letter was not on it. He narrowed his eyes and immediately guessed that it was the old guy Chiba Kai. This guy finally knew what to do. Advertisement. Skillfully opening the letter, Akira Yagyu frowned upon seeing the contents above. The name of the country of water is running out, and it is estimated that the next daimyo will take office soon. After reading it, Akira Yagyu murmured, thinking silently in her heart. Ding. Trigger the mission. Create the beginning of peace. Mission completion requirements. Host gains control of a country. Task completion reward. CP9Q, Scientific Research Unit 1. At this time, a series of system prompts sounded, and Akira Yagyu's heart suddenly moved. Gaining control of a country. After listening to the system's prompt, Akira Yagyu glanced at the mission request again and murmured. Hearing Akira Yagyu's murmuring voice, no one else had any thoughts, but Kitano Ichiro, who was lying on the ground and resting while resting his teeth on his chest, suddenly looked surprised. His Royal Highness, do you want to prevent the next daimyo from taking office and become the daimyo of the land of water? Kitano Ichiro looked at Akira Yagyu with a look of surprise. After waiting for so long, he said in his heart that after being dormant for so long, His Highness finally couldn't help showing his power to the land of water. Hearing Kitano Ichiro's words, without waiting for Akira Yagyu to say anything, the other people immediately looked at Kitano Ichiro with hatred of iron and steel. Vergo and T-Pen also looked at Crocodile with strange expressions, as if asking if he was hitting too hard, this guy is stupid. Otherwise, how could this guy have such an idea? You must know that Akira Yagyu now has only one marine under his command. It is a fool's dream to want to directly seize the control of the country of water and become a daimyo. Noticing the eyes of everyone, Kitano Ichiro quickly realized the ridiculousness of his thoughts, and immediately smiled awkwardly. Advertisement. T-Pen, in addition to maintaining the security of Hygeia City and the basic normal operation of the marine base building, how many marines can you mobilize? Akira Yagyu thought for a moment, and suddenly asked T-Pen. Reporting to Your Highness, apart from maintaining the security of Hygeia City and the normal operation of the marine base building, the marines that can be mobilized except me, 308 ordinary marines, 6 marine ensigns, and 1 major marine. T-Pen didn't have to think about it at all, and immediately stated the current number of marines available personnel. So little, it's not enough to maintain the law and order of a country. Akira Yagyu frowned. Hygeia City alone used nearly 500 people for one marine base building. A country, no matter how small, cannot be compared to Hygeia City. Do you already have a goal, Your Highness? Kitano Ichiro frowned, woke up from the embarrassment, and asked quickly. Yes, get ready. After 3 days, you and T-Pen will lead the troops to the land of the sea. Akira Yagyu nodded. Land of the sea, Kitano Ichiro chanted, and his eyes lit up immediately. The Kingdom of the Sea, which borders Carden Island, and whose military strength is not very strong, is definitely the most suitable choice. His Royal Highness is worthy of being His Highness. I have long been disliked by Hygeia City. I should have killed that idiot Fujiro Heiun. Thinking of what Heiun Fujiro did at the time, Kitano Ichiro was very angry. Hearing that Akira Yagyu decided to operate on the Kingdom of the Sea first, he immediately agreed with both hands. Akira Yagyu smiled, and his stretched brows quickly opened, because he thought of a marine mall that he had been neglecting and a special building that opened after owning the territory. Chapter 35 Explosives, Marine Barracks. Open Marine Mall. Akira Yagyu calls out the system and directly opens Marine Mall. Unlike the Prestige Mall, the items in the Marine Mall require silver in the world of Hokage. Ding. Open the Marine Mall, because this is the first time you opened the Marine Mall, and now you are making a broadcast for the host's wealth. In the future, you can check your wealth through your personal information in the upper right corner of the Marine Mall. Host's current wealth is 1,913,671,412. The sound of the system sounded, and a series of golden numbers flashed in front of Akira Yagyu, and then the numbers quickly shrank, and finally landed in the upper right corner of the Marine Mall interface. Nearly 1.1 billion, all collected by the Hoshino family. I don't know what good things can be bought. Akira Yagyu muttered to himself, and his eyes quickly fell into the marine mall. Uranus, Uranus. Uranus, Uranus, one of the ancient weapons, exchange requirement. 900.000.000.000, 300 billion taels. Pluton Bruton. Pluton Bruton, one of the ancient weapons, exchange requirement. 500.000.000.000, 300 billion 2. Shunzhou Proverbs. A giant ship made of countless gold can fly with enough energy. Exchange requirement. 100.000.000.000, 100 billion taels. Seastone Warship. A warship with seastone on the outside, exchange requirement. 2.000.000.000, 2 billion taels. Advertisement. Marine Battleship. Vice Admiral class battleship with 120 artillery pieces, exchange requirement. 300.000.000, 300 million taels. Pacifist. The Scientific Research Unit develops a combat-type robot transforming human, exchange requirements. 1.500.000.000, 1.5 billion taels. Fengfeng Fruit. Logia Devil Fruit, exchange requirement. 2.000.000.000, 2 billion taels. Rubber Fruit. Paramesha Devil Fruit, exchange requirement. 200.000.000, 200 million taels. Dog and Dog Fruit, Jackal Form, exchange requirements. 100.000.000, 100 million taels. Akira Yagyu was dazzled by the items in Marine Mall, especially the series of numbers following ancient weapon Uranus and Pluton, which made Akira Yagyu gasp. Of course, not only are there more than 100 million in it, but there are also standard guns, standard artillery, standard saber, miniature phone bugs, etc., such as Marines, and the cheapest ones are only a few hundred taels. It seems that Marines can't be recruited here. I guess we need to look at special buildings. Akira Yagyu shook his head. He thought he had a wealth of 1.1 billion to buy a lot of good things, but found that he couldn't even afford a pacifist. There is a hunch that he can get the result he wants in the special building. Open the command bar of the special building. Akira Yagyu's eyes flickered, and he found that he couldn't check much with the Marine Mall interface just now, and the wealth has been displayed in the upper right corner for a long time. It must have been purchased with the currency of the Hokage world, but the contents in the frame have become scaled-down versions of various buildings. Marine Research Center. A special building that unlocks the marine technology level after construction. Construction requirements. 500.000.000, 500 million taels, with scientific research troops. Marine Information Reconnaissance Command Center. A special building, with reconnaissance radar to conduct reconnaissance in the sea. Construction requirements. 40.000.000, 40 million taels, with scientific research troops. Advertisement. Marine Barracks. A conventional building. After construction, ordinary Marines can be recruited. The recruitment basis is ordinary Marines. Construction requirements. 5.000.000, 5 million taels. Marine Training Camp. Special building. Marine can be sent for training after construction. It has the most complete training facilities and various training subjects, and a comfortable training environment can speed up physical recovery. Construction requirements. 10.000.000, 10 million 2. Marine Defensive Artillery. A special defensive building that can only carry out medium and long-range attacks, with a minimum and maximum range of 10 to 50 kilometers. Construction requirements. 1.000.000, 1 million taels, with scientific research troops. System, help me build marine barracks right now. Taking a deep breath, Akira Yagyu came to the window, looked at the open space outside the marine base building, and said immediately. As soon as the voice fell, a virtual green shadow appeared in Akira Yagyu's eyes, sitting in the open space, and then, in a blink of an eye, a marine barracks half a football field and 5 stories high appeared in the open space behind the marine base building. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully building the marine barracks. Marine soldiers can be recruited. The recruitment amount is 10,000 taels per person. The system prompt sounded, and Akira Yagyu's funds were also reduced by 5 million taels, but Akira Yagyu was obviously not as simple as building a military camp. I saw Akira Yagyu looking at another open space on the side of the military camp. The marine training camp was pulled out by Akira Yagyu. If the military force wants to strengthen, the training camp is absolutely indispensable. Marine does not have a training camp, as if a country does not have one. Like school, it's even more difficult to develop. The importance of marine training camp can be seen from the fact that marine training camp is twice as expensive as marine barracks. After working for a while, Akira Yagyu also withdrew from the system. This time, he spent 100 million to recruit 10,000 Marines, 900 million to buy 3 marine warships, 80 million to exchange for arms, and 10 million to keep as a spare. If the country of water knew the sea power in the hands of Akira Yagyu, I am afraid that it would immediately come to suppress it with the power of the whole country.